People like you should be grateful to help, my sister texted from her running car, while her 4 children stood on my porch with one pink suitcase and $38 in my oldest niece's coat pocket. By midnight, Tanya Mercer had blocked my number, called me heartless, and told half of Cedar Bluff I had turned away blood. By Monday morning, that same pink suitcase sat on a government conference table. And before anybody could call me selfish again, Evelyn Whitaker adjusted her square glasses and read the sentence Tanya had signed herself. Not the rumor, not the family version. The sentence, "Let me take you back. Friday night in Cedar Bluff does not usually announce itself with a betrayal. It comes in plain. Tires on East Willow Street, porch lights clicking on. Somebody's fryer oil carrying down from the corner house. The last bus coughing past the Dollar General before the road bends toward Chattanooga. I was at my kitchen table with 3 stacks in front of me, church deposit slips, pharmacy receipts, and an insurance account from Memorial that was off by 1 penny. 1 penny will tell on a whole system if you let it. That was my job. Medical billing auditor, 48 years old, widowed, church treasurer, deep brown skin, silver in my 2-strand twists, readers low on my nose. I could find a missing modifier in a hospital claim faster than most people could find their car keys. Marcus used to say I was born with a calculator behind my eyes. That night, I had the old adding machine humming beside my coffee mug. The ribbon was fading, but it still worked. Marcus bought it from a county surplus sale for $6 and told me, "Baby, this thing sounds like accountability." He was corny. He was also right. My phone buzzed at 8:14 p.m. porch camera alert. I did not jump. I wiped my hands on a dish towel, picked up the phone, and opened the app. Tanya's silver Nissan was angled at my curb with the brake lights glowing. My 4 sisters' children stood at my closed front door. Maya was 14, too grown in the face and too young in the shoulders. She held a plastic grocery bag with orange prescription bottles inside. Devin was 10, still wearing his school hoodie. Layla was 7, hugging a stuffed lamb with one ear gone. Little Josiah was 4, asleep on his feet, leaning into Maya's side. One pink suitcase sat between them. Tanya stepped into the camera frame wearing sunglasses at night. That alone told me plenty. She looked straight into Marcus's porch camera and smiled. Then my phone buzzed again. "Just for the weekend. Don't start." I stared at the words. My hand stayed steady. That had taken practice. 8 years of practice. 8 years of just tonight, just until Monday, just while I get myself together, just because you don't have kids at home anyway. 8 years of my sister treating my quiet house like a public waiting room. I had loved those children through all of it. I had bought coats. I had signed reading logs. I had paid $72 for Devin's field trip when Tanya said her Cash App was acting funny. I had driven Maya to urgent care at 1:20 in the morning with a fever of 103. I had done plenty. Plenty is not the same as permission. I typed back, "No, we discussed this. I'm not available. You need to come get your children." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then came the text that would follow her all the way to that conference table. "People like you should be grateful to help." I looked at it once. Then I looked at the camera again. Tanya was still in her car. Maya had turned toward the street. She knew what was happening. Children always know more than adults hope they know. I did not open the door. That sounds cold if you leave out the 8 years. It sounds cruel if you leave out the papers. It sounds wrong if you leave out the fact that Tanya had learned to turn my love into her exit plan. I stood up and went to the small hall closet. Marcus's old choir robe hung in the back, still zipped in plastic from Cedar Bluff First Missionary Baptist. Under it sat his black metal lockbox. The label on top was in his handwriting. "For when they try you again." I did not open it yet. I just looked at it. Then I said what I always said when my chest tried to pull me into somebody else's storm. I set it down and let the record talk. I went back to the kitchen table. First, I took a screenshot of Tanya's text. Then I opened the camera app and saved the 8:14 clip. Then I zoomed in on the suitcase tag. Mercer, 4 kids, weekend, no address, no adult contact. Just Tanya's lazy handwriting and a sticker from the Hickson Pike laundromat. I photographed the medication bag through the glass of my storm door. Orange bottles, 1 inhaler, a folded school paper with Maya's name showing. I took a picture of the unread texts. I took a picture of my reply. I took a picture of the block notice when my next message would not send. Delivered turned into nothing. That woman had left 4 children on a porch and still found time to protect her peace. Some people have a gift for priorities. I called through the door, "Maya, baby, can you hear me?" She nodded. Her face was stiff. "Aunt Angie? I'm here. I see you. I'm calling for help right now." "Mom said you said yes." "No, sweetheart, I did not." Her eyes dropped. There it was, that little drop. That child had been made messenger, luggage handler, and witness in the same 5 minutes. I kept my voice soft. "You are not in trouble. None of you are in trouble. Sit on the bench, okay? Keep Josiah between you and Devin." "It's cold. I know, I'm going to bring blankets out through the side gate. I'm not bringing anybody inside until the proper adult is here." Maya blinked at me through the glass. She was old enough to hear the line I was walking, young enough to wish I would just erase it. I wished that too. That is the part people like to skip. Boundaries do not feel strong when children are standing on your porch. They feel awful. I took 4 clean quilts from the cedar chest in the den. Marcus had built that chest the 2nd year we were married. He sanded the lid 3 times because he said my elbows deserved smooth wood. I carried the quilts out the side door, came around the gate, and placed them on the porch bench. I did not touch the suitcase. I did not carry the medication bag. I did not open the front door and turn Tanya's mess into my secret. Maya wrapped the smallest quilt around Josiah. His hair was flattened on one side from sleep. His cheeks were shiny with dried tears. "Aunt Angie," Devin whispered, "are we bad?" That one nearly got me. I bent just enough to meet his eyes. "No, you are loved, and I'm making sure the right people know where you are." He nodded like he understood. He did not. Children accept adult sentences when they have no better shelter. I called Hamilton County's Emergency Child Services line at 8:22 p.m. The woman who answered asked for my name. "Angela Reed," I said. "East Willow Street in Cedar Bluff. 4 minor children have been left at my closed front door without my consent. Their mother drove away." "Are the children in immediate physical danger?" "They are on my covered porch. They have blankets. I can see them. I have not taken custody. I have camera footage and texts." The woman got quieter. People who work records know when details matter. "How many children?" 4, ages 14, 10, 7, and 4. "Relationship?" "I'm their aunt." "Mother's name?" "Tanya Mercer." There was a pause. Not long. Long enough. "Stay on the line, Ms. Reed." "I will." While I waited, Tanya's Nissan pulled away from the curb. She did not roll down her window. She did not come hug her children. She turned left on East Willow and vanished toward Cedar Bluff Road. Maya watched until the brake lights were gone. Nobody should have to learn their mother's priorities by taillight. At 8:31, my phone buzzed again. Not Tanya. Aunt Roberta. I let it ring. Then Cousin Denise. Then my cousin Cal. That was fast, even for my family. Tanya had started the choir before the hymn ended. Aunt Roberta texted, "Angela, don't be ugly. Those babies need family." I took a screenshot. Denise texted, "You always act better than everybody." Screenshot. Cal wrote, "It's one weekend. Marcus would be ashamed." I looked at that one for a long second. Then I screenshotted it too. People love borrowing the dead when the living won't obey. Marcus Reed had been a county bus mechanic for 22 years. He knew every route from Lookout Valley to Brainerd. He served as a deacon. He fixed church vans for free and kept peppermints in his suit pocket for children who behaved during service. He also installed that porch camera after Tanya's last one night turned into 19 days. He stood on a ladder in a Braves cap, drilling into brick, and said, "Angie, love without records is how folks rewrite your life." I laughed at him then. "Now you sound like one of my audit trainings." He climbed down and kissed my forehead. Good. Maybe they're finally teaching sense. 3 months later, he was gone, quietly, off stage, as people say when they do not want to make a sad thing heavier than it already is. But he left me that camera. He left me the lockbox. He left me a sentence written in black marker because he knew my family had a habit of calling their emergencies love. At 8:39, a white county SUV pulled up behind my mailbox. Evelyn Whitaker stepped out with a tablet tucked under one arm. I had met her twice before, once at a school meeting for Devon, once in the hallway at Family Services when Tanya needed support and forgot support had a job. Evelyn was a tired woman with square glasses and sensible shoes. Her hair was pulled back tight. Her coat looked warm, but not new. She had the kind of voice that did not waste itself. "Ms. Reed?" "Yes, ma'am." "You called?" "I did." Her eyes moved to the children, then the suitcase, then the camera above the door. "Did you agree to overnight care?" "No." "Did you open your home to them tonight?" "No." "Have they been left here before?" "Yes." "How many times?" I almost answered from emotion, then I chose the record. "I have dates for 7 times in the last 2 years. The longest was 19 days. Evelyn's jaw shifted, barely, but it shifted. Tanya should have worried about quiet women. There were 2 of us on that porch now. Evelyn crouched in front of the children. "Hi, Maya, I'm Ms. Whitaker. Do you remember me?" Maya nodded. "Did your mother tell you your aunt agreed to keep you?" Maya looked at me. I said nothing. The girl swallowed. She said Aunt Angie was acting funny, but she'd get over it. Evelyn wrote that down, not with drama, with a stylus. There is a special comfort in watching a lie meet a form. Evelyn checked the medication bag. She read every label. Devon needed an inhaler. Layla had allergy medicine. Josiah had antibiotics with 3 doses left. "Who packed this?" Evelyn asked. "Maya," Devon said. Maya stared at the porch boards. "I had to. Mama said hurry." Evelyn's voice went even softer. "Where was your mother going?" Maya pulled the quilt tighter around Josiah. "Atlanta, maybe." "With who?" Maya shook her head. That was enough for now. Evelyn stood and faced me. "Ms. Reed, I need to confirm again. Are you refusing to take physical custody tonight?" "I'm refusing an undocumented drop-off I did not consent to." Aunt Roberta would have called that fancy. It was not fancy. It was accurate. I added, "I'll stay right here until you have the proper placement. I'll provide blankets, water, and any records I have. But I'm not letting my sister turn my house into the place she hides what she did." Evelyn held my eyes. Then she nodded. "That is your right." 4 words, plain as bread. I had not heard them from family in years. At 8:47, Aunt Roberta called again. This time I answered on speaker. "Angela Louise Reed," she said, using a middle name I do not have. "Open that door." "My middle name is Marie." "Don't you get smart with me." "I'm not. I'm standing on my porch with Ms. Whitaker from Hamilton County." Silence. Aunt Roberta had a strong voice until official titles entered the room. Then she said, "Well, Tanya told me Evelyn already knows." Evelyn looked up. I looked at Evelyn. There it was. The phrase that would not leave the story. Evelyn already knows. I repeated it calmly. Aunt Roberta, who told you Evelyn already knows? Tanya did. When? Just now. She said this was all arranged and you were making it hard because you like control. Evelyn's face changed. Not much, just enough. Did she use my full name? Evelyn asked. Aunt Roberta cleared her throat. Who is that? This is Evelyn Whitaker. Another silence. That porch could have hosted a whole choir inside that silence. Finally, Aunt Roberta said, I'm just trying to keep peace. No, I said. You're trying to keep Tanya comfortable. That's your sister. Yes, and those are her children. The words sat there. Aunt Roberta hung up first. Evelyn did not comment. She did not need to. At 9:06, another county car arrived. A younger worker brought bottled water and a packet of forms. Evelyn made 2 calls from the curb, one to the after-hours supervisor, one to a woman named Mrs. Mercer, the children's grandmother on their father's side. I knew of her, Sandra Mercer, quiet woman, worked at the cafeteria at a middle school in Red Bank, sent birthday cards even when Tanya did not answer her calls. Evelyn asked me if the children could use my bathroom one at a time while she stood present. That was different. That was documented. I agreed. I opened the door then. Not for Tanya's lie. For the children's need, with the caseworker standing there and the time recorded. Maya entered first, holding Josiah's hand. She looked around my front room like she had not been there 100 times before. The room had Marcus all over it. His deacon photo on the bookcase, his bus depot retirement mug, his Bible with the cracked spine. Maya saw the black lockbox in the hall closet because the door was still open. What's that? She asked. Your Uncle Marcus's box. What's in it? Things he wanted kept safe. She nodded. Children know when not to ask twice. Devin used the bathroom next, then Layla. Then Josiah, half asleep and cranky. I gave them water in paper cups. I did not make cocoa. I did not start grilled cheese. I did not slide into mothering so everybody else could slide out of responsibility. That was the hardest part. Not the phone calls, not the text. The hard part was seeing hungry eyes and choosing the right kind of help instead of the easy-looking kind. At 9:41, Sandra Mercer arrived in a brown Buick with one headlight dimmer than the other. She got out wearing her cafeteria shoes and a cardigan buttoned wrong. Maya, she said. The child broke, not loud, just folded into her grandmother's arms like somebody had finally stopped asking her to be in charge. Sandra held all 4 children before she spoke to any adult. That told me something good about her. Evelyn explained the emergency process. Sandra listened. She asked clear questions. Where would they sleep tonight? What forms did she need? Could she contact the school? Would Tanya be notified? Then Sandra turned to me. Angela, I'm sorry. You didn't do this. No, but I'm sorry you were put in it. That was the first family sentence all night that did not ask me to disappear. I thanked her. At 10:03, Evelyn took a formal statement from me at my kitchen table. The same table still had the church deposits stacked at the far end. $1,286 in Sunday offerings, $42 for youth missions, $95 in building fund envelopes. I had counted it twice before Tanya's car came. Evelyn noticed the stacks. You were working? Church treasurer. And professionally? Medical billing auditor. She typed. What does that involve? Finding where the numbers stop telling the truth. She looked at me over her glasses. Then she typed that too. I gave her the screenshots, the camera clip, the blocked call log, the photo of the suitcase tag, the medication labels, the texts from family. When Cal's message came up, the one with Marcus's name, Evelyn paused. Do you want that included? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. My voice did not shake. My hands did not shake either. That surprised me a little. Maybe grief leaves iron behind if you survive the first year. Evelyn emailed me a receipt for the files at 10:28 p.m. Ms. Reed, she said, do you have any prior written agreement involving care of these children? The lockbox in the hall seemed to get heavier. I thought of Marcus's handwriting, for when they try you again. I may, I said. Evelyn waited. I did not move yet, not because I was hiding it, because some papers matter too much to pull out in a rush. I need to review my files in the morning, I said. Then I'll bring anything relevant to your office. That would be helpful. Her voice had gone quiet again. That was when I understood this was bigger than one ugly Friday. Tanya had not just dumped the children. She had built a story around me. And somewhere in Hamilton County's files, my name was probably sitting where I had never put it. After everyone left, my porch looked too neat. No suitcase, no children, no Tanya. Just 4 folded quilts on the bench and 1 paper cup tipped on its side. I locked the door. I turned the porch light off. Then I turned it back on. Marcus always left it on until midnight. Old habit. I stood in the hall and opened the closet. The choir robe rustled when I lifted it. The black lockbox sat on the floor, square and scratched, with his label across the top. For when they try you again. I carried it to the kitchen table. The account with the missing penny still waited beside my coffee mug. I found the key in the blue tin where Marcus used to keep bus tokens and spare cufflinks. The lock clicked at 10:52 p.m. Inside were clean copies: marriage certificate, house papers, life insurance letters, receipts from the 19-day stay, printed texts from 3 years back, and 1 sealed manila envelope with Tanya's name written across it in my husband's blocky hand. Tanya Mercer, DSS Safety Plan copy. My throat tightened. I remembered the day he made me keep it. Tanya had sat in our den crying into a napkin, promising she just needed temporary help. Marcus had listened from his recliner, quiet as a closed church after service. Then he asked her to repeat what the caseworker had said. Tanya got mad. That was always her tell. Marcus did not argue. He asked for the paper. He walked to the copier at the church office after Wednesday Bible study and made 2 copies. 1 for Tanya, 1 for us. Why do we need that? I asked him that night. He tapped the page. Because one day she'll tell folks you agreed to something you didn't agree to. I told him he was being hard. He said, "No, Angie, I'm being married." I opened the envelope. I did not read the whole thing yet. I saw enough. Tanya's signature, Evelyn Whitaker's printed name, a date from 11 months earlier, and a paragraph with my own name in it. My phone buzzed again before I could finish. This time it was Pastor Lyle. "Angela," he said when I answered, "I'm hearing there was trouble with Tanya's children. There was an emergency placement issue. The children are safe." "I'm glad to hear that. Your aunt says feelings are high." "That sounds like Aunt Roberta." He sighed. Pastor Lyle had been at Cedar Bluff First Missionary Baptist for 6 years. Good man, careful man. Sometimes too careful when the loudest person was wrong. "Do you need anything?" he asked. "I need people to stop repeating Tanya's version before the county finishes its work." A small pause. "That's fair." "It is. I'll speak carefully. Thank you." After we hung up, I looked at the sealed papers again. The house felt very still, not peaceful. Still, there is a difference. At 11:17, Tanya called from a blocked number. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answered and said nothing. She came in hot. "You really called DSS on me?" I pressed record. Tennessee has rules about recordings, and I knew them. One-party consent. My consent counted. I called because you left 4 children at my closed door after I said no. You always got to make things official. You made it official when you drove off. They're your nieces and nephews. They're your children." She laughed then, a short, mean sound. "You sitting up in that house alone, acting like somebody asked you for the moon. It was 2 days. Where are you? None of your business. Are you in Atlanta? Girl, bye." Tanya, Evelyn was here. That stopped her. I heard road noise, then a man's voice in the background. Then Tanya said, "Evelyn already knows." There was that phrase again. Smooth this time. Practiced. "Knows what?" I asked. "She knows you're approved. Stop acting brand new." Approved. I wrote that word on the back of a church envelope. Approved. Who approved me? You did. No, I didn't. You must have forgot. I don't forget paperwork. Another little laugh, less steady. "Angela, don't start with that audit mess." That audit mess had paid my mortgage for 19 years. That audit mess had caught hospital overcharges worth $18,430 in 1 quarter. That audit mess had kept Cedar Bluff First from bouncing a roof repair check when somebody transposed 2 digits. People mocked the skill until they needed the rescue. "I'm going to ask you once," I said. "Did you put my name on something?" Tanya went quiet. Not innocent quiet, cornered quiet. Then she said, "You should be grateful somebody thinks you're useful." There it was again. Grateful. That word had been wearing church shoes in my family for years. Grateful meant take the child. Grateful meant pay the bill. Grateful meant be quiet when Tanya lied because at least she trusted me enough to use me. I let the silence hold. 5 seconds. 7. Tanya filled it because she always did. "I'm blocking you again. Don't call my man, don't call Aunt Roberta, and don't show up at that office acting crazy." "Which office?" She hung up. That was Tanya's second mistake. The first was leaving the children on camera. The second was telling me there was an office before I told her I knew about one. I saved the recording. I labeled it. Tanya blocked call 11:17 p.m., says approved. Then I laid the safety plan beside it and began matching dates. That is how my mind works. Not anger first. Sequence first. Date, name, signature, claim, contradiction. By 12:06 a.m., I had a yellow legal pad full of notes. 7 prior drop-offs. 19-day stay from March 3rd to March 22nd. Grocery receipts totaling $486.19. Pharmacy copays totaling $63. School supplies, $112.74. Emergency dental visit, $90 cash deposit. 1 cash app from Tanya for $25 with a heart emoji. Generous woman, my sister. I put every paper back in order. Then I placed the safety plan in a red folder. Not because red meant anger, because red was the folder I used when a number could hurt somebody if it stayed hidden. At 12:31, I finally fixed the missing penny on the hospital account. A reversed adjustment. Simple. Most messes are simple once people stop lying over them. Saturday morning, I woke at 5:40 without an alarm. Widowhood had changed my sleep, but church deposits had kept my habits. I dressed in dark jeans, a cream sweater, and the low brown boots Marcus used to call my business boots. I pinned my twists back. I put on small gold hoops. Then I made coffee strong enough to stand up in the cup. At 7:15, I drove to Cedar Bluff First Missionary Baptist. The church parking lot was half full because the men's breakfast was setting up in the fellowship hall. Bacon smell came through the side door. Somebody was laughing too loud near the kitchen. The foothills sat blue beyond the roofline. I carried the deposit bag against my side. Not the red folder. Not yet. Aunt Roberta's car was already there. Of course it was. A woman who says she hates drama will cross 3 zip codes to supervise it. She stood near the vestibule with cousin Denise and 2 ladies from the usher board. When I walked in, the talking thinned. Not stopped. Thinned. Aunt Roberta looked me up and down. "Morning, Angela." "Good morning? You sleep all right?" "I slept enough." Denise folded her arms. "Tanya's kids cried last night. I'm sure they did." "That don't bother you?" "It bothers me that their mother left them." Aunt Roberta clicked her tongue. "See, that's the problem. You always got to say it like that." "Accurately?" Denise's mouth tightened. "Good." I walked past them into the finance room. Mrs. Cora Bell, our counting team lead, was already there with her calculator and her peppermint tea. She was 73 and missed nothing. "I heard foolishness," she said. "Most of it is probably accurate." She looked over her glasses. "Did you keep records?" "Yes, ma'am." "Then drink your coffee." That was Cedar Bluff love. No performance, just instruction. We counted the offering in silence for 10 minutes. Then Mrs. Bell slid a stack of checks toward me. "Building fund is short $5 from the envelope list." I checked the tape, found it in less than 30 seconds. One bill had stuck inside a folded prayer request. Mrs. Bell smiled. "That's why I like counting with you." I set it down and let the record talk. Amen. Through the finance room window, I saw Aunt Roberta watching from the hall. I did not wave. At 8:32, Pastor Lyle knocked. "Angela, when you finish, can we talk?" "We can talk now." He stepped in, careful around the cash table. Good pastors know not to hover over counted money. "I spoke to Tanya," he said. "I figured. She says there's paperwork naming you as approved care." Mrs. Bell's calculator stopped. I placed a deposit slip flat with my palm. "Did she show you that paperwork?" "No." "Did she explain why she left before I opened my door?" "No." "Did she mention she blocked me after I said no?" Pastor Lyle's face changed. "She did not." "Did she mention Evelyn Whitaker came out last night?" "She said Evelyn was aware." I looked at him. "Pastor, aware is doing a lot of work." Mrs. Bell made a sound into her tea, not quite a laugh. "Close enough." Pastor Lyle nodded slowly. "What do you need from me?" "Do not let the church become Tanya's announcement board." "That's reasonable." "And if Aunt Roberta starts collecting sympathy in the fellowship hall, ask her whether she has seen the county record." He took that in. "I can do that." "Thank you." He left. Mrs. Bell waited until his footsteps faded. "Baby, is this going to get ugly?" "It already is." "No," she said. "I mean official ugly." I thought of the red folder on my kitchen table. "Yes, ma'am." Mrs. Bell capped her pen, "Then eat before it does." At 9:10, I went into the fellowship hall and made myself a plate. Scrambled eggs, 1 biscuit, grape jelly, 2 strips of bacon because grief had taught me life was short and turkey bacon was not always necessary. Aunt Roberta appeared before I could sit. "Angela, your sister is embarrassed." "She should be." "You called strangers on her." "I called the agency responsible for child safety. Those babies are family." "They were family when she left them on the porch." Denise stepped closer. "You know people are saying you turned away blood." I set my plate down, not hard, just down. "Who is people?" Denise blinked. "What?" "Name them." "Well, folks." "Which folks?" She looked at Aunt Roberta. Aunt Roberta lifted her chin. "I said it. I said I didn't raise my nieces to be cold." "You didn't raise us," I said. "Mama did." That landed. Aunt Roberta's lips pressed thin. My mother, Joyce Reed, had been gone 12 years. She had worked double shifts at Erlanger Laundry and still made choir rehearsal on Thursday nights. She loved Tanya. She loved me. She also knew the difference between helping and being used. Aunt Roberta liked remembering the first part. She edited out the second. "You think you're better because you got that job with computers," she said. "I work with billing systems." "Same thing." "No, but go on." Denise leaned in. "Tanya said you've been taking money to help, and now you're acting brand new." There it was. A new lie with shoes on. "What money?" Denise's eyes moved away. "What money, Denise?" "She said there was childcare support." "How much?" "I don't know." "How much?" Aunt Roberta said, "Angela, don't interrogate people in church." I looked at her. "I reconcile accounts in church every Sunday." Mrs. Bell had come to the fellowship hall doorway. Pastor Lyle stood behind her. Neither spoke. Denise finally said, "Maybe 1,200. I don't know." 1,200. A clean number. Too clean. I felt something settle inside me. Not rage, direction. "Who told you that?" "Tanya." "When?" "This morning." "Did she say who paid it?" Denise looked trapped now, which was unfortunate for her because she had walked there on purpose. She said the state, or some program. Aunt Roberta waved a hand. "That's not the point." "It is exactly the point." I picked up my plate. My eggs were getting cold. "I have never received $1 of childcare money for Tanya's children. Not one. If my name is on a form saying otherwise, that form is false." The room went quiet enough for the ice machine to sound rude. Pastor Lyle stepped forward. "Angela, do you want to use my office to make a call?" "No, thank you. I'll make it from my car." Aunt Roberta scoffed. "There she goes, making everything a case." I turned back. "No, Aunt Roberta. Tanya made it a case when she put my name near money I never saw." I walked out with my biscuit wrapped in a napkin. I did not eat it until later. In my car, I called Evelyn Whitaker's direct line from the card she had left me. She answered on the fourth ring. "Whitaker. This is Angela Reed." "Ms. Reed, I was going to call you this morning. I have the safety plan copy." A pause. "Good. And I just heard Tanya may have listed me for childcare support." A longer pause, the kind that tells you the file on the desk has teeth. Evelyn said, "Can you come to the Hamilton County office Monday at 9? "Yes. Bring everything." "I will." "And Ms. Reed?" "Yes." "Do not discuss the document with your family before then." I looked through the windshield at the church doors. Aunt Roberta was standing outside with her phone to her ear. Tanya's choir was still singing. "I understand." Evelyn's voice dropped. "Tanya listed you as approved overnight kin." There it was. Not gossip, not a misunderstanding. My name, on a government file. "Did I sign anything?" I asked. "I can't discuss the whole file by phone." "Did I sign anything?" Evelyn exhaled. "No." My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. "Then I'll see you Monday." I ended the call and sat there with the biscuit cooling in my lap. For 8 years, Tanya had used my house like a backup plan. Now I knew she had used my name like a signature. I looked at the church through the windshield, then at the red folder on the passenger seat, then at the black lockbox on the floorboard, tucked under Marcus's old choir robe. For when they try you again, I finally understood. Marcus had not been joking, and Monday morning that box was going with me. Sunday did not give me rest. It gave me phone calls. By noon, I had 7 missed calls from Aunt Roberta, 3 from Denise, and 1 voicemail from a number I knew but had not saved. Tanya's friend, Shalonda. The same Shalonda who once dropped off 2 trash bags of Tanya's laundry at my back steps because Tanya said I had offered. I did not play that message right away. I came home from church, changed out of my sweater, and put on house shoes. Then I spread everything across my kitchen table. The red folder sat in the middle. On the left, I placed my phone records. On the right, I placed printed screenshots. Under those, I stacked grocery receipts, pharmacy slips, school supply lists, and one old note from Malik's teacher thanking me for sending extra poster board. I had paid $5.79 for that poster board. I remembered because Tanya had promised to cash at me when my card hit. Her card must have been walking from Memphis. At 1:18 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text came from Denise. Aunt Roberta says don't embarrass Tanya at that office. I stared at it while the washing machine clicked in the back room. Embarrass. That word sat there beside grateful like they were cousins. I typed, I'm bringing records. Denise answered fast. You know what I mean? I did. That was the trouble. What she meant was, do not tell the truth where people can write it down. I set the phone face down and pulled Marcus's lockbox closer. The black paint had worn thin on one corner. His handwriting still held firm on the label. For when they try you again. I opened the safety plan copy and read it from the first line that time. The document was not long. 3 pages, plain language, county logo, Tanya Mercer listed as mother, 4 children listed by name and birth date. Then a section called Immediate Safety Actions. Number 1 said Tanya had to maintain safe supervision. Number 2 said Tanya had to notify the assigned worker before any overnight change. Number 3 stopped me cold. I read it once. Then I read it again. I will not leave the children with Angela Reed without Angela Reed's written consent. My name was typed clear. Not Angie, not Auntie. Not family. Angela Reed. Below that was Tanya's signature. Beside it, Evelyn Whitaker's initials. There was no space for imagination, no space for Aunt Roberta's feelings, no space for Tanya's little laugh, written consent. I had never given it. I took a picture of that line with my phone, then I stopped myself. Evelyn had told me not to discuss the document with family. She had not told me I could not prepare for a meeting. Still, I did not send it. I did not wave it around. A paper only works when it arrives at the right table. At 2:04, Pastor Lyle called. Angela, do you have a minute? I do. I'm checking on you. I'm at my kitchen table. With papers? Yes. He made a small sound. Mrs. Bell said you had the red folder. Mrs. Bell sees everything. She does. I heard voices behind him, church voices, Sunday shoes on tile, someone laughing too loudly because they knew people could hear. He lowered his voice. Tanya came by after service. I figured she might. She was upset. She should call Evelyn. She asked whether the church could speak for her. In what way? She wanted a letter saying you often kept the children. I stood still. That was new. Pastor, I said, did she ask you to put dates? She did. And did she ask you to say I agreed? He paused too long. She used the word available. Available. I almost smiled, not because it was funny, because lies have favorite clothes, and Tanya had just changed outfits in public. What did you tell her? I asked. I told her the church doesn't certify family arrangements. Good. She didn't like that. She rarely likes closed doors. Then he said something I respected him for. Angela, I owe you an apology. I waited. I should have asked more before I called you Friday night. You were trying to keep peace. I was, but peace can't sit on one person. No, it can't. He breathed out. If the county asks, I'll say she requested that letter. Thank you. And Angela? Yes? Don't let them make you meet at church. I won't. When we hung up, I added a note to my yellow pad. Sunday, 2:04, Pastor Lyle. Tanya requested church letter, dates, available. That was another rung. Not a delay. A ladder. At 3:30, I finally played Shalanda's voicemail. Her voice came through sharp and tired. Angie, this Shalanda. I don't know what Tanya told you, but she put your East Willow address on them childcare forms last fall. I told her that was messy. She said you wouldn't care because you like paperwork. Don't put my name in nothing. I'm just saying. The message ended. I sat down before I meant to. Last fall. The safety plan was 11 months old. The child care forms were from last fall. The porch drop-off was Friday. Tanya had not stumbled into one bad weekend. She had built a bridge out of my name and walked across it whenever she felt like it. I saved the voicemail. I labeled it Shalanda, 3:30 p.m., East Willow address on forms. Then I did something I had not done in months. I opened Marcus's old green notebook. He had kept it in the lockbox too. Bus routes in the front, church repair notes in the back. His handwriting leaned right when he was tired. On the last used page, he had written 4 lines. Tanya will cry first. Roberta will call it family. Somebody will mention money. Ask for the paper. I put my palm over those words. Marcus had not been hard. He had been early. At 5:45, I drove to Food City on Middle Valley Road because I needed milk, eggs, and something simple for dinner. I parked close to the cart return. My knees do not enjoy long walks after a full Sunday in church shoes. Inside, I was comparing chicken thighs when Aunt Roberta's voice found me between the meat case and the end cap of barbecue sauce. There you are. I did not turn right away. I checked the price first. $6.82. Too high for that small pack. Then I faced her. Aunt Roberta had on a red church hat she did not remove in the grocery store. Denise stood beside her with a basket and a tight face. Behind them stood a woman I knew by sight. Mrs. Louise Mercer, the children's father's mother. Louise was small, light-skinned, and neat. She had silver hair pressed close and a purse held in both hands. I had seen her at Malik's kindergarten program 2 years earlier. She had brought cupcakes and stayed in the back. Her eyes met mine, then dropped. Aunt Roberta spoke first. We need to talk. In the meat aisle? Don't be smart. I'm buying dinner. Denise looked around like she expected witnesses to gather. Cedar Bluff will give you witnesses faster than it gives you a parking spot. Louise cleared her throat. Ms. Reed, she said, I didn't know they'd been left at your house. That turned me toward her. Who told you they had? Tanya said you took them for the weekend. Did she say I opened my door? Louise's fingers tightened on her purse. No. Aunt Roberta cut in. Louise is willing to help. That's all that matters now. No, I said. What matters is why she wasn't called first. Louise looked at Aunt Roberta, then at Denise. She told me Angela was already approved, Louise said. There it was again, approved. I placed the chicken back in the case. When did she tell you that? Friday afternoon. What time? Maybe 6, a little after. My porch camera had Tanya at 8:14 p.m. That meant 2 hours before she dumped those children at my closed door. She was already telling their grandmother I had accepted. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened my notes. Aunt Roberta's eyes narrowed. Are you writing this down? Yes. You don't have to record every breath. Only the ones attached to a lie. Denise said, See, this is why Tanya doesn't call you. She called me enough to use my address. Denise blinked. Aunt Roberta's mouth opened, then closed. Louise looked up. Your address? I did not answer fully. Evelyn had warned me, but I could ask questions. Mrs. Mercer, did anyone from Hamilton County contact you this weekend? Yes, Ms. Whitaker called me this morning. Good. She asked if I could come Monday. Are you going? I am. Aunt Roberta stepped closer. We're all going. No, I said. She pulled back like I had touched her. What you mean, no? I mean this is a county meeting, not a family cookout. She's my niece. And they are her children. Denise muttered, You sure know how to sound cold. I looked at her. She had repeated that word so much it had lost its teeth. Cold is leaving children outside a locked door and driving off. A white man near the soda display glanced over when I said it. He looked at me first, then at Aunt Roberta, then at Louise. His eyes stayed on me a half-second longer than they needed to. The old Cedar Bluff second look, deep brown skin, gray twisted hair, grocery basket, and suddenly I was the loud one even while speaking level. He said, Y'all need to take that outside? I looked right at him. No, sir, we're fine. Aunt Roberta smiled at him. Family business. He gave me that little tight smile some folks give black women when they think we are being managed. Just keeping things calm, he said. Then you can keep walking, I said. His face changed. Denise whispered, Angela. No, I said, still looking at him. We're not blocking the aisle. He left with his soda. My heart did not race. I had spent too many years in hospitals and county offices being mistaken for the person who should wait by the wall. Calm is not softness. Sometimes calm is a locked file cabinet. Louise spoke quietly. I'm going Monday. Good, I said. Bring what you have. I only have texts. Texts are records. Aunt Roberta snapped, You're turning this into court. No, Tanya turned it into a file. Then I picked up a different pack of chicken. $4.91. Better. At the register, Louise came up behind me alone. Ms. Reed. Yes, ma'am. Did the children ask for me Friday? I thought of Jada holding that pink suitcase. I thought of Malik trying not to cry. I thought of the little ones under quilts on the porch bench, eating crackers from my pantry because I would not let them be hungry even while I kept my door closed. Jada asked who was coming, I said. I told her a safe adult. Louise nodded once. Thank you for that. You're welcome. She looked toward the exit where Aunt Roberta waited. Tanya told me you didn't like my side of the family. I don't know your side well enough to dislike it. That almost made her smile. She said you thought you were better. She says that when she needs somebody lower. Louise looked down at her receipt. I paid the motel once, she said. $200. March. I heard the click in my mind. March. The 19-day stay. Which motel? Cedar Ridge Inn, off Lee Highway. How much was owed? More than I had. Do you remember the balance? $740. There it was, another number stepping into line. I held my receipt in my hand. Milk, eggs, chicken, greens, $23.16. When did you pay? March 17th. That was during the 19-day stay at my house. Tanya had been telling me she had no money for diapers while Louise paid a motel balance. Bring that receipt if you have it, I said. I do. Good. Outside, the evening had gone soft and gray. Aunt Roberta stood by Denise's car with her arms folded. She watched Louise speak to me and did not like it one bit. That told me enough. Monday morning, I arrived at the Hamilton County Family Services office at 8:37. The building sat plain and square, with glass doors that showed every tired face twice. I wore black slacks, a white blouse, and Marcus's old watch. Not because I needed luck, because I wanted his time on my wrist. The red folder was in my tote. The black lockbox was on the passenger floor until I parked, then I carried it with both hands. It was heavier than the papers inside. Some objects are. A security guard at the front desk looked at the box. Ma'am, what's in there? Documents. Need to open it. I opened it. He saw folders, copies, a blue tin with a key, and Marcus's label on top. His eyes moved over the words. "For when they try you again?" he read softly. "Yes." He looked at my face then. Not nosy, just careful. "Second floor, window 4. "Thank you." The waiting room was already full. A young mother bounced a baby on her knee. An older man filled out forms with a pencil worn down to nothing. A little boy slept across 2 chairs with his jacket under his head. I checked in at window 4. The clerk took my ID, looked at it, and then looked at me. "Angela Reed?" "Yes." "You're listed as kin contact." "I'm here to correct that." Her fingers paused above the keyboard. "Have a seat." I sat under a bulletin board with flyers about school meals, housing assistance, and car seat safety. The air smelled like copier toner and old coffee. At 8:52, Louise Mercer came in wearing a navy coat and carrying a folder with a rubber band around it. She saw me and sat 2 chairs away. "Morning," she said. "Good morning." "You sleep?" "Some." "Me too." At 8:58, Aunt Roberta arrived with Denise. Pastor Lyle came in behind them, not with them. That mattered. Aunt Roberta wore the same red hat from Food City. "Angela," she said. "Aunt Roberta." Denise sat without speaking. Pastor Lyle took the chair near the aisle. "Morning, everyone." Nobody answered him but me and Louise. At 9:03, Tanya walked in. She had on big sunglasses, though we were indoors. Her hair was pulled high, and her purse hung from her elbow like she had come to return something at a department store. Behind her was a man I had seen once in a Facebook picture. Darnell, the boyfriend headed to Atlanta. He looked at the room and decided he did not like it. Tanya spotted my lockbox first. Her mouth tightened. Then she smiled. "Angie," she said, "you brought props?" "No." Aunt Roberta said, "We are not starting in this lobby." Tanya took off her sunglasses and looked around. Her eyes were red, but I knew Tanya. She could cry on schedule. She had cried at Mama's kitchen table once while slipping my debit card under a magazine. Evelyn Whitaker opened the inner door at 9:06. She wore gray slacks, a blue cardigan, and square glasses. Her hair was pulled into a low bun. She held a thin file in one hand and a thicker one under her arm. "Ms. Reed," she said. "Ms. Mercer, Mrs. Mercer, Pastor Lyle, Ms. Roberta, Ms. Denise." She did not call Aunt Roberta Aunt. She did not call me Angie. I appreciated both. "This way." The meeting room had a long table, 8 chairs, 1 box of tissues, and a wall clock with a loud second hand. Tanya chose the chair closest to the tissues. Darnell sat beside her until Evelyn looked at him. "And you are?" "Darnell." "Last name?" He shifted. "Price." "Are you a legal parent or approved caregiver?" "No, but I'm with her." Evelyn's voice got quiet. "That wasn't my question." Tanya snapped, "He can sit with me." "He can wait in the lobby," Evelyn said. Darnell stood. "Man, I told you this was too much." Tanya hissed his name, but he was already opening the door. That was the first crack of the morning. Evelyn waited until the door closed. "Before we start, this meeting is about child safety, placement information, and records connected to the Friday incident." "Incident," Tanya said. "That's dramatic." Evelyn looked at her. 4 children were left at a residence after the resident declined care. Tanya folded her arms. They were with family. Evelyn opened the thin file. "That is what we're here to discuss." I placed my red folder on the table. Then I placed Marcus's lockbox beside my chair, closed. Tanya watched it like it might speak. Aunt Roberta leaned forward. "Ms. Whitaker, I just want to say Tanya has been under stress." "I believe that. She made a mistake." Evelyn nodded once. Mistakes are different from plans. That shut the table down for 3 seconds. Tanya recovered first. See? This is what I mean. Everybody already got their mind made up. No, Evelyn said. Everybody has documents. Pastor Lyle cleared his throat and looked at the table. Evelyn turned to me. Ms. Reed, did you agree to keep the children Friday night? No. Did you open your home to them? No. Tanya made a noise. I kept my eyes on Evelyn. Did you provide food or blankets while emergency response was pending? Yes, on the porch. Aunt Roberta whispered, Lord. Evelyn wrote, Why didn't you bring them inside? Because I had already said no, and Tanya had used my home before as proof I agreed after the fact. Tanya slapped her palm on the table. That is a lie. I opened my folder. Evelyn lifted a hand. Ms. Mercer. No, because she's sitting here acting like I'm some terrible mother. Louise spoke for the first time. You told me she took them. Tanya turned on her. Mama Louise, please. Louise did not blink. You said Angela had them. I thought she did. I looked at her then. You thought that after I texted no? Tanya's eyes cut to me. You didn't have to be so nasty. I almost laughed. Nasty was a black woman with a boundary. Helpful was the same woman with her wallet open. Evelyn turned a page. Ms. Mercer, did you receive Ms. Reed's text declining care? Tanya looked at Aunt Roberta. Aunt Roberta gave her nothing. I was driving, Tanya said. Did you receive it? I saw it later. Before or after you blocked her? Tanya's lips parted. Denise stared down at her lap. I set my phone on the table, screen up, but I did not touch play. Not yet. Evelyn saw it. Ms. Reed has provided screenshots. We'll add them to the record. Tanya leaned back. Of course she did. Yes, I said. I did. My voice sounded plain to my own ears. Aunt Roberta said, Angela, you don't have to answer every little thing. I'm not answering little things. Evelyn opened the thicker file. Now we need to address the approved kin entry. Tanya sat straighter. Angela agreed to be emergency kin. No, I said. Tanya pointed at me. You did when they stayed with you before? That was not written consent. You love hiding behind paperwork. I love not being forged into a life I refused. The room went still. Evelyn looked from Tanya to me. Ms. Reed, I need to ask directly. Did you ever sign a county form agreeing to be ongoing overnight kin? No. Did you ever receive child care support funds connected to these children? No. Did you ever authorize your East Willow Street address for child care provider records? No. Tanya said, She's making it sound worse. Louise placed her folder on the table. I have a motel receipt. Tanya's head turned fast. Mama Louise. Louise opened the rubber band. You asked me for $200 on March 17th. You said the children were with Angela and you needed to clear Cedar Ridge. That ain't got nothing to do with this. It does, Evelyn said. Louise slid the receipt across. Evelyn read it. Cedar Ridge Inn. Payment received $200. Remaining balance $740. Aunt Roberta looked at Tanya. You told me it was $400. Tanya threw up both hands. So now everybody's against me? No, Pastor Lyle said quietly. Everybody's hearing numbers. I could have kissed him on the forehead for that, in a church-safe way. Evelyn looked at me. Ms. Reed, do you have your March records? I do. I opened the red folder and pulled the stack labeled March 3rd through March 22nd. Grocery receipts total $486.19. Pharmacy copays $63. School supplies $112.74. Dental deposit $90. One Cash App from Tanya for $25. Denise looked up. 25? With a heart emoji, I said. Tanya's face hardened. You didn't have to keep all that. Yes, I said. I did. Evelyn took copies, not originals. That told me she knew what she was doing. Then she reached into her thick file and pulled out a page I had not seen. Ms. Mercer, she said, this is a Child Care Assistance Review notice dated last month. It lists Angela Reed at East Willow Street as informal care support. Tanya stopped moving. Aunt Roberta whispered, Tanya. Evelyn kept reading. The amount under review is $1,200. The room changed then, not loud, worse, quiet with edges. Tanya's eyes went to mine, and for the first time since Friday night, she looked less angry than afraid. I did not smile. $1,200 was not just gossip anymore. It had a form. It had a notice. It had my address sitting inside it like a stolen key. Evelyn placed the page flat. Ms. Reed, did you receive this money? No. Did you know your address was used? No. Did you provide written consent? No. Tanya grabbed a tissue. You all don't know what I've been dealing with. Evelyn's voice stayed low. I know what you signed. Tanya froze. So did I. Evelyn did not pick up the safety plan yet. She only touched the corner of the file. That was when I understood the order of things. Evelyn was not going to spend the whole truth early. She was laying a path, one stone at a time. Tanya did not understand that. She thought every pause was a chance. Angela always acts like she's so put together, Tanya said. She got that house, that job, no husband to answer to. She can help. Aunt Roberta's face tightened at Marcus, but she said nothing. Tanya kept going. And don't sit here pretending race don't matter. Y'all know how it looks when a black mama gets reported. Angela knows too. She used that against me. That one landed dirty. I looked at my sister. Same mother, same kitchen, same hymns, same porch where Mama used to shell peas into a steel bowl. No, I said. You used my black woman's guilt like a spare debit card. Pastor Lyle looked down. Louise closed her eyes. Aunt Roberta whispered, Angela. No, I said. She doesn't get to put that on me, not after leaving 4 black children at my closed door and calling it help. Evelyn let the words sit. Then she wrote one line in her notes. Tanya dabbed her eyes. You hear her? She's cold. I leaned back. Cold. There was that word again. It had followed me from the porch, to the church, to Food City, and now into a county room with a clock that would not stop ticking. I looked at Tanya's tissue, then at Evelyn's file. I'm not cold, I said. I'm finished being useful without consent. Evelyn looked at me over her glasses. Ms. Reed, do you have the copy you referenced by phone? I reached down and opened Marcus's lockbox. The click sounded small, but Tanya heard it. Her face changed before I lifted the folder. She knew the sound of an old mistake coming back. I took out the manila envelope with her name in Marcus's handwriting. I slid out the safety plan copy and placed it in front of me. I did not push it across yet. Tanya stared. Where did you get that? From my house. You weren't supposed to have that. Then you shouldn't have signed it in my den. Aunt Roberta looked from the page to Tanya. In her den? Tanya shook her head fast. She's twisting it. Evelyn held out her hand. May I? I gave her the copy. She compared it to the page in her file. Same date, same initials, same signature. Then she looked at Tanya. This appears to match the agency copy. Tanya sat back. I was under pressure. Evelyn said, that may be discussed. It doesn't erase the document. She did not read the sentence aloud. Not yet. Instead, she placed both copies side by side and turned to Louise. Mrs. Mercer, if you're willing to be assessed for temporary kinship placement, we'll begin that process today. Louise nodded. I'm willing. Tanya snapped. You can't just take my kids. No one said that, Evelyn said. We are arranging safe supervision while the review proceeds. Darnell's muffled voice came from the hallway. He was on the phone, talking too loud. Tanya looked toward the door. Evelyn noticed. Ms. Mercer, do you have travel plans this week? No. Louise stared at her. Tanya. I said no. Evelyn opened another page. Your voicemail to Mrs. Mercer Friday referenced Atlanta. Tanya's mouth tightened. I was upset. Were you leaving town? No. Louise pulled out her phone. I still have it. Tanya leaned across the table. Mama Louise, don't. Louise held the phone but did not play it. Evelyn raised a hand. We don't need that this minute. Tanya exhaled like she had won something. She had not. She had just bought one breath. Evelyn gathered the pages. Here is what happens now. Ms. Reed's address will be flagged for review and removed as a care contact unless she gives written consent. The child care assistance issue goes to benefits integrity. Friday's incident remains under safety review. Mrs. Mercer will meet with our kinship worker today. Aunt Roberta said, What about family? Evelyn looked at her. This is family, with records. Denise rubbed her forehead. Pastor Lyle sat very still. I put the March receipts back in order. Tanya pushed her chair back. So Angela just gets to walk away? I looked at her. No, I get to walk out with my name. That was the first thing I had said all morning that sounded like victory, and I did not regret it. Evelyn stood. We'll pause here. Ms. Reed, stay a moment. Mrs. Mercer, someone will come get you. Ms. Mercer, please remain available. Tanya laughed bitterly. Available? That's funny. I closed the lockbox. No, I said. It's accurate. Aunt Roberta reached for Tanya's hand, but Tanya pulled away. Denise stood first, then Pastor Lyle. Louise gathered her folder and looked at me. Thank you, she said. Bring the receipt copies, I told her. I will. When the room cleared, Evelyn sat back down across from me. For the first time since I met her, she took off her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. Ms. Reed, she said, I need you to understand something. I'm listening. This is bigger than Friday. I know. We had a prior concern from another relative last year. It didn't move forward because the person wouldn't give a statement. Who? I can't say yet. Yet. That word opened another door. Evelyn put her glasses back on. But your records change the posture. My records or Marcus's? She glanced at the lockbox. Both. I touched the lid. He told me to keep clean copies. He was right. Yes, I said. He usually was. Evelyn slid a consent form toward me. This allows us to attach your provided records to the file and state you deny authorization of your address or care status. I read every line. She did not rush me. At the bottom, I signed Angela Reed. Not Angie, not Auntie, not emergency anything. Just my name in my hand. Evelyn took the form. There will be another family team meeting after Benefits Integrity reviews the support entry. How soon? Soon enough. I looked at her. No invented waiting? She almost smiled. No. This file is already moving. I stood and lifted the lockbox. At the door, Evelyn said, Ms. Reed? Yes? When we meet again, bring the camera clip. I already made 2 copies. Of course you did. I walked out into the lobby with Marcus's box against my hip. Tanya was standing near the vending machines, phone in her hand, Darnell nowhere in sight. Aunt Roberta sat across from her. Denise was pretending to read a flyer. Louise was at window 4, speaking to a clerk. Tanya looked at the lockbox. You think you won? No. I kept walking. She followed me 2 steps. Angie. I stopped, not for her tone, for the old name. What? Her voice dropped. You really gonna let them put me through all this? I looked at my younger sister. I remembered her at 9, sitting on Mama's kitchen counter, swinging her legs, eating biscuit dough when Mama told her not to. I remembered her at 22, holding newborn Jada, scared and proud. I remembered her Friday night, smirking at my porch camera. All of that was true. So was the paper in my box. You put yourself through it, I said. Her face hardened again. People like you always forget where you came from. I leaned closer, just enough that she could hear me without the whole lobby getting a show. No, Tanya, I remember exactly where I came from. That's why I know Mama didn't raise me to be your unpaid shelter, your fake signature, or your excuse. Aunt Roberta stood. Angela. I turned to her. And you knew enough to ask me not to embarrass her. That means you knew there was something to hide. Aunt Roberta's eyes flashed. I was trying to protect the family. Which part? She had no answer. I walked out through the glass doors into the July heat. The parking lot was bright enough to make me squint. Cars moved along the road, and somewhere behind me a child cried in the waiting room. Not one of ours. Still, I heard it. I placed the lockbox on the passenger seat this time. Not the floor. Before starting the car, I called Mrs. Bell. She answered with, "Well?" I signed my denial. Evelyn has the records. And Tanya? Still talking. Figures. Mrs. Bell, can you count Sunday deposit without me next week if this meeting lands then? We can count money without you. We cannot count nonsense. Handle your business. Yes, ma'am. And eat something with vegetables. I bought greens. Cook them. I smiled for the first time that day. Yes, ma'am. When I got home to East Willow Street, the porch looked ordinary. Brick steps, bench, 4 folded quilts still washed and stacked by the door because I had laundered them Saturday night. The porch camera blinked from the corner Marcus had chosen. It did not look like much. That small black eye had seen what everybody else wanted to rename. I carried the lockbox inside and set it on the kitchen table. Then I cooked the greens, baked the chicken, and made rice. I ate at 6:12 with the television off. At 7:03, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring. Then a text came through. This is Louise. Evelyn said I can have supervised care tonight. Kids are safe. Thank you. I stared at the words a long time. Then I typed, I'm glad they're safe. I did not add anything else. At 7:19, Aunt Roberta called. I answered because silence can become its own rumor if you let other people fill it. Angela, she said. Yes. I didn't know about the money. I believe that. I knew Tanya was messy. I didn't know she used your address. I believe that too. She waited. An apology stood somewhere near her, but pride had its hand on the door. I was hard on you, she said finally. Yes. I thought you were punishing her. No. I stopped covering her. Aunt Roberta breathed into the phone. Your mama would have wanted you girls together? My mama would have wanted the children safe. She would have wanted that too. There it was, the smallest honest thing Aunt Roberta had said in 3 days. I have to go, I said. Angela. Yes? Don't cut me off. Then stop handing me scissors. She went quiet. I hear you, she said. We ended there. That was enough for one night. At 8:14 p.m., my porch camera sent its daily motion check because I had changed the setting after Friday. The phone lit up with a still image of my empty porch. Same time, different night. No suitcase, no children, no running car at the curb. I opened the clip and watched 10 seconds of nothing moving except the porch flag lifting in the heat. Then I saved it. Empty porch, Monday, 8:14 p.m. Some records are proof of what happened. Some are proof of what did not happen again. Tuesday morning, I woke before my alarm and lay still under the ceiling fan. My house was quiet in that careful way a house gets after people have tried to fill it with other folks' trouble. The quilts were folded. The sink was empty. Marcus's lockbox sat on the dresser because I had not put it away yet. I got up, washed my face, and twisted the silver at my temples back into place. Then I made coffee and opened my work laptop at 6:41. Medical billing does not care about family mess. A denied claim still needs a modifier. A balance still needs a note. A missing authorization still sits there with its hand out. At 8:03, my supervisor, Carlene, called. "Angela, you working from home today?" "Yes." "You need time?" "I need my lunch hour clear." "For court?" "Family services." She got quiet. Carlene had known me 12 years. She knew when I said 2 words, I meant 10 pages. "You want me to move the orthopedic audit?" "No, I'll finish it by 11. "You sure?" "I'm sure." "Then I'll leave you be." At 10:52, I sent her the audit. 43 accounts, 2 duplicate charges, 1 missed pre-authorization, $918 corrected before anybody billed a patient twice. That is who I was before Tanya made me the villain in her story. At 11:06, my phone rang. Hamilton County Family Services. "This is Angela Reed." "Ms. Reed, this is Evelyn Whitaker." Her voice sounded thinner than yesterday. "I'm here. I need to ask about a provider packet." I sat back. "What provider packet?" "That answers my first question." "What does it say?" "There's a form attached to the child care assistance file. It lists you as informal care provider for evening and weekend coverage." My kitchen went still. "Evelyn." "Yes. I never filled out a provider packet." I figured. "What's on it?" "A copied ID image, a signature line, a phone number that isn't yours." I reached for my notebook. "Read me the number." She did. I wrote it down. I did not know it. That did not comfort me. Tanya knew plenty of people with phones and no shame. Evelyn said, "Do you have a copy of your driver's license anywhere Tanya could access?" "Yes." "Where?" "In a folder from when I helped enroll Jada in after-school care 2 years ago." Tanya took photos at my table. "Was she allowed to use it later?" "No." "Can you state that in writing?" "I can." "I'll send a statement form." "Send it now." She may say you agreed verbally. She may also say I own a boat. I don't. Evelyn was quiet for half a breath. "Ms. Reed." "Yes." "Don't meet Tanya alone." I looked toward my front door. "Did something happen?" "She called this morning asking if a corrected consent would solve it." My hand tightened around the pen. "Corrected how?" "She asked if she could bring you in to sign an updated form." I laughed once, but it had no joy in it. "She said that?" "She said you were confused and emotional yesterday." "Emotional?" "Yes." "Did she say cold too?" "No, not to me." "She's learning." Evelyn's voice dropped. "If anyone brings you paperwork, don't sign anything outside this office." "I won't." "And send the camera clip by secure upload, not text." "I'll do it." After we hung up, I sat with the notebook open. Provider packet. Copied ID, wrong phone number. Corrected consent. There it was. Tanya did not want forgiveness. She wanted a backdated rope. At 12:14, I drove to the UPS store near Cedar Bluff Road and made fresh copies. I copied my driver's license, my denial form, the March receipts, the Cash App screenshot for $25, and the motel receipt Louise had texted me that morning. I did not copy the safety plan again. That stayed in the lockbox. A young white clerk with a lip ring looked at the stack and then at me. You need these notarized? No, just copied. For court? For truth. He blinked, then nodded like that was a regular service. Outside, the July heat slapped me in the chest. I had just opened the car door when a blue pickup rolled slow beside me. Darnell. He leaned across the passenger seat. Angie. I did not move closer. My name is Angela. He smiled without warmth. Right. Angela. Tanya said you got everybody stirred up. I didn't stir anything. She needs you to fix it. No. You ain't even heard me. I heard Tanya through you. His jaw moved. It's one paper. No. It just says you helped before. I did help before. Then sign it. No. He looked toward the store window. The clerk was watching now. Darnell lowered his voice. You know they'll take her kids. No. I know she left them. You think you better than her. That line had worn grooves in my family. Every time a black woman kept her bills paid, somebody called it pride. Every time she said no, somebody called it acting white. I had heard both, and neither paid my mortgage. I opened my car door. Darnell said, People like you forget the struggle. There it was again, people like you. I turned back. Which struggle, Darnell? The one where I raised my own bills, or the one where Tanya used my address? He leaned back. I don't know about all that. Then you shouldn't be messenger. You better watch how you talk. I am watching, that's why I'm clear. The clerk came to the door. Ma'am, you okay? I looked at Darnell. Yes, I said. He's leaving. Darnell stared at me another second, then pulled off. His truck turned toward the highway like Atlanta had a string tied to his bumper. I got in my car and wrote the time down before I started the engine. 12:31 p.m. Darnell approached outside UPS. Asked for one paper. Witness present. I set it down and let the record talk. At 1:07, I sent Evelyn the note. At 1:09, she replied. Do not engage further. Save all contact. At 1:11, Tanya texted from a new number. You really got men following me now? I stared at the screen. Then another came. You always wanted my kids anyway. I did not answer. Then a third. Sign the paper and this stops. That one I saved twice. At 3:40, the school called. Not the office number I knew. This was a woman from attendance. Ms. Reed, this is Cedar Bluff Elementary. We're confirming pickup permissions for the Mercer children. I closed my work spreadsheet. Why are you confirming that with me? You're listed as alternate guardian. No, ma'am. I'm sorry? I am not their alternate guardian. We have your name here. Please tell me the date. Paper rustled. Updated in April. By whom? I can't disclose that over the phone. Then you need to mark that I dispute it. We'd need the parent to update the file. No, you need to note I do not consent to be listed. The woman softened. Ms. Reed, I understand. Do you? A pause. I'll transfer you to the principal. Principal Harris came on a minute later. I knew her from church fish fries. Not close, but close enough to know she wore reading glasses on a chain and did not waste words. Angela? Yes. This is Marcia Harris. I figured. I'm looking at the file now. Tell me what I'm listed for. Pickup, emergency contact, temporary release? My mouth went dry. Temporary release means what? If a parent is unreachable, the child may be released to you. No. I hear you. No, Marcia. I need the record to hear me. It will. I didn't sign that. I believe you. That made my eyes close. Not tears. Just the relief of one adult not making me drag proof across the floor first. She said, I'll put an administrative hold on release to your name until Family Services updates us. Thank you. Angela? Yes. Tanya came in with Darnell in April. I opened my eyes. She did? Yes, he said he was the children's stepfather. He is not. I know. Did he sign anything? I can't send forms without a request. Can you preserve them? I already printed them. There it was, another ally, quiet and useful. Marcia, thank you. Those babies need stable paper around them. Paper and people. Yes, she said, both. At 4:25, I called Louise. She answered tired. Angela? How are the children? They're here. They ate. Malik asked for your rice. That went through me, but I kept my voice even. He likes too much butter. He said you don't call it too much. He's correct. Louise sighed. Jada won't talk much. She's 13. She asked if she got you in trouble. I stood by the kitchen counter and looked at the folded quilts. Tell her no. I did. Tell her grown people are responsible for grown people's papers. I'll tell her. In the background, I heard a small voice ask for juice. Louise covered the phone, then came back. Evelyn sent a kinship worker. They looked in my cabinets. That's standard. They looked in my medicine drawer. That too. They asked about Tanya staying here. What did you say? I said no. Good. Louise went quiet. Then she said, Tanya came by. When? About 30 minutes ago. I gripped the counter. Is she still there? No, she was yelling from the walkway, said I stole her children. Did the kids hear? Some. Did you call Evelyn? Yes. She told me to call if Tanya returns. What did Tanya want? Jada's phone. I stared at the stove. Why? She said Jada had private family things on it. Private family things. That meant evidence. Louise, do not give her that phone. I won't. Charge it. Put it in a drawer. Don't delete anything. She's scared. Louise. Yes? Tanya is scared too. That don't make me feel better. It shouldn't. After we hung up, I stood in my kitchen and listened to my refrigerator hum. The children were safe. That was the first duty. But now Jada had something Tanya wanted. At 5:18, Evelyn called again. Ms. Reed, did Louise call you? Yes. Good. I'm documenting that contact. Tanya wanted Jada's phone. I know. Why? I can't discuss the child's statement. That told me enough. Is Jada okay? She's safe. Did she say something about Friday? She said enough that I'm asking you to bring your full phone records to the next meeting. Full how? Calls, texts, blocked numbers, screenshots. Anything from Tanya, Darnell, Aunt Roberta, Denise, and Louise from March forward. March. Yes. That's when Cedar Ridge started. Yes. I sat down. Evelyn, what did Jada say? I can't give details yet. Is it about my house? It includes your house. I looked at Marcus's lockbox on the dresser through the open bedroom door. When is the meeting? Thursday morning. That soon? This needs to be live with all parties. Will Tanya be there? Yes. Darnell? If he appears on documents, we're asking him to attend. I almost said he would run. I did not. Let the record learn his shoes. Evelyn said, bring the lockbox. I looked at it again. Why? Because she's asking for retroactive consent. I could hear office noise behind her, phones, a printer, someone laughing too loud down a hall, normal sounds around abnormal facts. She asked you again? In writing. Of course she did. She says you cared for the children regularly and accepted cash. $25. She wrote $800. My mouth opened, then closed. $800? That's what her statement says. No. I know your records say different. She sent $25 with a heart. Bring that. I will. And Angela? Yes? Thursday may get ugly. Ugly came Friday. No, Evelyn said. Friday was the act. Thursday is the audience. That night, I went to Cedar Bluff First Missionary Baptist for budget committee. I did not want to go, but church money still had to be counted. People will steal in a sanctuary and hum while they do it. Marcus taught me that too. Mrs. Bell sat at the long table with her calculator, peppermint tin, and one sharpened pencil. You look like you fought a copier. I did. Did it win? No. Good. Pastor Lyle came in carrying 2 deposit bags. He set them down gently. Angela. Pastor, I heard Thursday. From who? Evelyn called to confirm my attendance. Mrs. Bell looked over her glasses. Attendance where? Family services, I said. She pushed the peppermint tin toward me. Take 2. I'm fine. Take 2 anyway. I took 1. Pastor Lyle sat across from me. Do you want me there as pastor or witness? Witness. He nodded. Then I'll speak only to what I saw. That would be best. Mrs. Bell said, What did you see? He looked at me first. I said, It's all right. He folded his hands. I saw Angela refuse to lie. That's what most folks are mad about. Mrs. Bell clicked her tongue. That'll do it. We counted the deposit. Sunday offering was $3,409. Benevolence was $612. Youth fund was $174.25 because somebody always put quarters in that envelope. Numbers behaved. People did not. At 7:22, Aunt Roberta came through the fellowship hall door. I knew before she spoke that she had not come for budget. Angela. Mrs. Bell's eyes narrowed. Aunt Roberta. She held her purse with both hands. Can we talk? We're counting church funds. It'll just take a minute. Mrs. Bell said, No, it won't. Aunt Roberta looked at her. Perline. Mrs. Bell's first name in Aunt Roberta's mouth sounded like a warning. Mrs. Bell did not move. I put the deposit slip down. Say it here. Aunt Roberta looked at Pastor Lyle. He said, If it concerns Thursday, here is fine. She pressed her lips together. Tanya said Angela can stop this. I almost smiled. Stop this, like I was the rain. How? She said there's a paper. Mrs. Bell sat back. Here we go. Aunt Roberta kept looking at me. She said you only need to say you helped. I did help. Then say it. I won't say I agreed. You know what I mean? Yes, I said. That's the problem. Pastor Lyle's voice stayed gentle. Roberta, did Tanya ask you to carry that message? She's scared. Did she ask you? Aunt Roberta looked at the floor. Yes. Mrs. Bell said, Did she tell you about the $800? Aunt Roberta's head came up. What 800? I watched her face. Not fake surprise. Real surprise. There was her verdict for that moment. Guilty of pressure. Not guilty of that lie. Tanya wrote that she paid me $800 for childcare, I said. Aunt Roberta sank into a chair. No. Yes. She told me $200. She told Louise $400. The motel said $740. The county says $1,200. Now she says $800 to me. Mrs. Bell lifted her pencil. That math needs prayer and prosecution. Perline, Pastor Lyle said. I said what I said. Aunt Roberta rubbed her forehead. Angela, I didn't know that. I believe you. She looked at me, and her mouth trembled with something close to shame. She keeps saying you're making it worse. No, I'm making it visible. The fellowship hall door opened again. Tanya stepped in. For 1 second, nobody spoke. She wore sunglasses on top of her head and a white blouse I had given her last summer because she said she needed interview clothes. I remembered paying $32.90 for it at Belk on clearance. I remembered her saying, "You always find the anti-racks." I had laughed then. That blouse did not feel funny now. Tanya looked at the deposit bags. "Counting money, Angie?" "Angela." She smiled. "Right." Pastor Lyle stood. "Tanya, this isn't a good time. I came to talk to my sister. You can call her." She blocked me. "I didn't," I said. "You're using new numbers." Mrs. Bell reached for her phone. "Need me to call somebody?" Tanya's face sharpened. "You always got some old churchwoman guarding you." Mrs. Bell stood up slow. "Old, yes. Guarding, also, yes." Pastor Lyle stepped between the table and Tanya. "What do you need?" Tanya pulled a folded paper from her purse. There it was. She held it toward me. "Sign it." I did not touch it. "What is it?" "It says you watch them sometimes." "Read it." "You read it." "No, you brought it. Read it." Her eyes flicked to Aunt Roberta, then to Pastor Lyle, then to Mrs. Bell, who looked ready to audit her soul. Tanya unfolded the page. It says Angela Reed provided informal care for Jada, Malik, Nia, and Caleb Mercer on various weekends and evenings from March through July. "Keep going. That's the main part. Keep going," she huffed. "And that compensation was provided privately." "Mrs. Bell said, there's that 800. Aunt Roberta whispered, "Tanya." Tanya snapped, "It don't say 800. I held out my hand. "Then let me see it." She pulled it back. "No." "Then I won't sign it." "You just want me in trouble." "No, I want my name out of your mouth and off your forms." "You think these white people care about you?" Tanya said. The room went still. There was the line, not a slur. Worse in some ways because it wore concern as a coat. She meant Evelyn, the school, the clerk, the whole system she had tried to use while accusing me of using it. I stood. "I'm a black woman in Cedar Bluff, Tanya. I know exactly how systems look at me." "Then why feed them?" "Because you put my name on their plate." Pastor Lyle said, "Tanya, leave the paper." "No." "Then leave the building." She laughed. "This your church now?" Mrs. Bell said, "It's the Lord's church, and tonight I have the keys." Tanya looked at Aunt Roberta. "You see, everybody's acting brand new." Aunt Roberta did not stand. She did not reach for Tanya. That was new. "Did you write 800? She asked. Tanya's face changed. "I wrote what they told me." "Who is they?" Darnell helped. There it was. Not a confession, a crack. Pastor Lyle heard it. Mrs. Bell heard it. Aunt Roberta heard it. I heard Marcus in my memory saying, "When a person lies fast, slow the room down." I picked up my notebook and wrote one line. "Tanya brought retroactive care statement to church," said Darnell helped. Tanya stared. "You writing me down now?" "I've been writing you down." She shoved the paper back into her purse. "You ain't family." Aunt Roberta stood then. "Tanya, hush." Tanya looked stunned. Aunt Roberta's voice shook, but it held. "You don't get to call her family only when you need her signature." Tanya's eyes filled fast. I knew those tears. They came when the room stopped working for her. "You choosing her?" "I'm choosing the children." Tanya backed toward the door. "You'll all be sorry." Mrs. Bell picked up her phone. "You want that entered as a threat or a prophecy?" Tanya left. The door shut behind her. For a moment, the only sound was the fellowship hall refrigerator kicking on. Aunt Roberta sat down hard. "I carried her message," she said. "Yes. I'm sorry for that." I looked at her. One apology. Real enough to stand on, not big enough to erase. "I accept that part." She nodded. "That's fair." Pastor Lyle turned to me. Write my name on that note. I witnessed it. Mrs. Bell said, mine too, and spell Perline right. I did. That night, I put every page in order across my kitchen table. I had my March receipts, April school call note, May pharmacy log, June missed calls, July porch clip, Louise's motel receipt, Tanya's $25 Cash App, Darnell's UPS approach, the church paper incident with 3 witnesses. Then I opened Marcus's lockbox. The label inside still made my chest tighten. For when they try you again. I lifted the safety plan but did not unfold it. Not yet. I set it on top of the stack and placed my palm flat over it. Thursday, I said to my empty kitchen. The house did not answer. At 9:46, Jada called from Louise's phone. Aunt Angie? Her voice was small, and I hated that Tanya had made a child sound like she owed rent on her own breath. I'm here, baby. Grandma Louise said I could call. Good. Are you mad at me? No. You sure? I'm sure. I told Ms. Evelyn something. I know. I didn't want Mama to get in trouble. I know. She told me not to show you. My hand went still. Show me what? Jada breathed into the phone. A picture. What picture? The paper in Mama's purse. I looked down at the safety plan under my hand. What paper, Jada? The one with your name. And the kids. Darnell said if you signed, Mama could still go. Go where? Atlanta. There it was. The word moved from voicemail rumor to child witness. When did he say that? Friday, in the car. Before my porch? Yes. I closed my eyes. Jada, listen to me. You did nothing wrong. I should have knocked harder. No, I should have told you she was leaving. No, baby. She said it was just for the weekend. The title sat there between us, ugly and exact. I know what she said. She blocked you, didn't she? Yes. Jada sniffed once. I saw her do it. I gripped the edge of the table. What did you see? She texted you, then she laughed, then she blocked you. Darnell said drive. My kitchen light hummed overhead. Jada. Yes. Did you tell Ms. Evelyn that? Yes. Good. Is Mama going to hate me? That one hurt clean through. No, I said. Your Mama's going to have to answer adults. That's not hate. She said people like you think you're better. People like me pay attention. Jada went quiet. Then she said, I saved the picture. Don't send it to me unless Ms. Evelyn says. She already took it. Good. Aunt Angie? Yes? Can I still come for rice one day? I looked at the folded quilts by the door, clean and waiting for no emergency. One day, I said, when the grown people stop lying. That might take a long time. I almost laughed. It might. When we hung up, I sat alone at my kitchen table until the clock changed to 10 o'clock. Then I added one more note. Jada witnessed block. Darnell said drive. Atlanta confirmed. I did not sleep much that night, not because I was afraid, because my mind kept sorting papers in the dark. At 7:30 Thursday morning, I dressed in a navy blouse, black slacks, and the pearl earrings Marcus bought me for our 20th anniversary. I put my twists into a low bun and checked my face in the mirror. Deep brown skin, clear eyes, no powder hiding tiredness I had earned. On the dresser, the lockbox waited. I placed Marcus's note inside the lid where I could see it when I opened the box. Then I packed the safety plan, the copies, the USB drive, and my notebook. At 8:12, I stepped onto my porch. The flag moved a little. The bench was empty. The camera blinked above me. I turned the key in my front door and checked the knob twice. Across East Willow Street, mister. Hanley lifted a hand from his mailbox. You all right, Ms. Reed? I'm all right. You need anything? A clear road. He nodded. Then take Willow to Pike. School traffic's backed up. Thank you. That is community too, not speeches. A man at a mailbox giving you the cleanest route to tell the truth. At 8:47, I pulled into the Hamilton County Family Services parking lot. Louise's car was already there. Aunt Roberta sat in her Buick with both hands on the wheel. Pastor Lyle stood near the entrance in a gray suit. Mrs. Bell was not supposed to come, but there she was in a green dress, holding her purse like it had legal authority. I parked and lifted the lockbox from the passenger seat. Mrs. Bell met me halfway. I'm not going in unless they let me. I know, but I'm here. I see. She looked at the box. Marcus did good. Yes, I said. He did. The glass doors opened. Tanya walked in ahead of Darnell, her chin high, sunglasses on, white blouse pressed. She did not look at me. Darnell did. Then he looked at the lockbox and stopped smiling. Darnell looked at the lockbox like it had called his name. That told me something. Tanya could pretend not to know what I carried. Darnell could not. His eyes went from the box to my face, then to the glass doors behind him. A man thinking about exits will always check the doors twice. Pastor Lyle leaned close. You ready? No, I said, but I'm prepared. Mrs. Bell touched my elbow. Same thing on most days. Inside, the family services lobby smelled like burnt coffee and floor cleaner. A little boy in a red shirt rolled a toy truck under the chairs, while his mother filled out a form with one hand. A security guard glanced at my lockbox, then at my face, and then at my driver's license. He looked longer at my license than he needed to. I knew that look. Deep brown skin, silver in my twists, navy blouse, pearl earrings, lockbox in both hands. Some people saw all that and still tried to decide if I belonged at the table. I kept my voice even. Do you need me to open it here? He blinked. No, ma'am. Thank you. Tanya was watching from the hall, her mouth tucked to one side. Darnell whispered something to her. She snapped, Don't start. That told me something too. Evelyn Whitaker stepped out of a conference room with a folder against her chest. Square glasses, gray cardigan, hair pulled back tight. She looked at the people in the lobby one by one and did not waste a smile where a record was needed. Good morning, she said. We're in room 3. Tanya lifted her chin. Can we get started? I've got somewhere to be. Evelyn looked at her. Yes, we know. Tanya's face hardened. Room 3 had a long table, 10 chairs, 1 clock, and a box of tissues nobody had touched. A speakerphone sat in the center like it was listening before anybody pressed a button. Louise sat already in the far chair with Jada beside her. Malik and Nia were at a side table with coloring sheets. Caleb sat on Louise's lap, sleepy and quiet. He had one hand in her necklace. That little hand told the room more than any grown person wanted to admit. A woman I did not know sat near the window. She wore a tan suit, gold hoops, and a tight expression. Evelyn nodded toward her. This is Marcia Mercer, Darnell's mother. Marcia looked me up and down. So, you're Angela? Yes. The aunt. Yes. Her eyes dropped to the lockbox. You brought a whole safe? It's a box. For papers? Yes. She sniffed. Some folks love paper when blood is involved. There it was. A new mouth. Same tune. I set the lockbox on the table and sat down. Paper remembers what blood forgets. Pastor Lyle sat to my left. Aunt Roberta sat 2 chairs down from Tanya. Cousin Denise came in last, tapping on her phone, eyes already tired from choosing the wrong side too early. She did not look at me. Evelyn closed the door. Before we begin, she said, this meeting concerns the safety plan for Jada, Malik, Naya, and Caleb Mercer. We'll discuss Friday night, placement, contact, and documentation. Tanya crossed her arms. And lies. Evelyn looked at her. Documentation. Darnell sat back and spread his hands. I'm just here because y'all asked. Your name appears in statements, Evelyn said. My name appears where? In statements. He laughed once. That don't mean nothing. It means you're here. I did not smile. I opened my notebook and wrote, Darnell denies before asked. Tanya leaned forward. See, that right there? She's writing like she's police. Pastor Lyle said, she's writing like a treasurer. Mrs. Bell was not in the room. They had not let her in, but I could almost hear her say, Amen through the wall. Evelyn placed a sign-in sheet on the table. Everyone print your name. Tanya grabbed the pen first. She wrote hard enough to dent the page. Darnell scribbled. Marcia printed clean letters. Aunt Roberta wrote slow. Denise used a purple pen from her purse. When the sheet reached me, I printed Angela Reed, then added the time. 9:03 a.m. Tanya rolled her eyes. Of course. Evelyn began. Ms. Mercer, you stated that Angela Reed agreed to keep your children from Friday evening through Monday morning. She did. I looked at Tanya. She did not look back. Evelyn said, You also stated you paid her $800. Tanya waved her hand. I said support was given. That is not what you wrote. Darnell shifted in his chair. Marcia said, 800 for 4 kids ain't much. Louise's hand tightened around Caleb. It's plenty if it never happened. Marcia turned. I don't know you. Louise looked at her. You know the children. That's enough. Evelyn lifted one page. Ms. Reed, did you receive $800 from Tanya Mercer? No. Did you receive any amount? Yes. $25 by Cash App on Friday night. Tanya snapped, For food. For children you had left at my closed door. They weren't in danger. Evelyn's voice got quiet. They were on a porch. They were with family. I said, They were with my doorbell. Jada's head lowered. I hated that she had to hear it, but truth had to be said where the lie had been fed. Evelyn looked at me. Ms. Reed, did you open your home to the children Friday night? No. Marcia scoffed. You let them sit outside? I turned to her. I sat with them on the porch bench. I gave them blankets. I called the emergency line. I did not accept a placement I had not agreed to. Marcia leaned back. That sounds cold. It was July in Tennessee, I said. The cold part was their mother driving away. Tanya slammed her hand on the table. Caleb flinched. Louise kissed the top of his head. Evelyn said, Ms. Mercer. Tanya pointed at me. She wants me to lose my kids. No, I said. You keep making choices in public. Denise finally looked up. Angela, you could have just helped. I turned to her. I did. You know what I mean. Yes, I said. That's why I brought papers. Darnell muttered, Here we go. Evelyn opened her folder. We'll start with the timeline. Tanya sat back like a woman watching a play she planned to interrupt. Evelyn read from a printed page. Friday, 8:14 p. Michu. Children arrive at Angela Reed's residence on East Willow Street. 8:15 p.m. Tanya Mercer sends a text to Angela Reed. 8:16 p.m. Angela Reed responds. 8:16 p.m. Angela Reed's number is blocked by Tanya Mercer. 8:32 p.m. Angela Reed contacts the after-hours line. Tanya said, That's her version. Evelyn looked at her. That is phone metadata and call records. Darnell rubbed his jaw. Marcia said, Phones can be funny. I looked at her gold hoops and her tan suit and her sure mouth. Not that funny. Evelyn continued. At 8:45 p.m., I received the camera alert clip Ms. Reed sent to the after-hours system. At 9:11 p.m., I arrived at the residence with a responding officer and confirmed the children were safe. Tanya laughed. You make it sound like I left them in the road. Evelyn folded her hands. You left them at a residence where the adult had refused care. I knew she'd do it. That sentence walked into the room and sat down. I wrote it. Evelyn looked up. Repeat that. Tanya's eyes flicked. I said she always does. No, Evelyn said. You said you knew she'd do it. Tanya crossed her arms again. Because she's their aunt. I said, grateful help. That was your phrase. Tanya's mouth opened, then closed. Evelyn turned a page. Ms. Mercer, did you tell Ms. Reed that I already knew about this arrangement? Tanya hesitated. There was the first loose brick. I mean, you knew Angela helps. That is not what I asked. Darnell said, everybody calm down. Pastor Lyle looked at him. Everybody is calm. Darnell pointed at me. She ain't. She's been building some case. I looked at him. Yes. He did not like that answer. Evelyn said, Ms. Reed, please provide the text. I opened the lockbox. The room changed. It was not loud. No gasp. No big move. Just eyes. Tanya's eyes. Darnell's eyes. Aunt Roberta's eyes softening because she had seen grief and preparation live in the same small object. Inside the lid, Marcus's note was taped flat. For when they try you again. I did not take it out. I left it where it was. A man's handwriting can stand witness if the man cannot. I lifted the first folder. Texts. I slid the copy to Evelyn. Evelyn read, Tanya Mercer to Angela Reed, Friday, 8:15 p.m. People like you should be grateful to help. Marcia's face did not move. Denise looked down at her phone. Aunt Roberta closed her eyes. Evelyn looked at Tanya. Is this your message? Tanya said, I was upset. That was not my question. Yes. Evelyn read the next line. Angela Reed to Tanya Mercer, Friday, 8:16 p.m. No, I did not agree to this. Come back now. I heard Jada breathe in. Evelyn read again. Message not delivered. Tanya shifted. Evelyn set the paper down. Why did you block her? I didn't. Jada lifted her head. Louise whispered, Baby, you don't have to. Jada's voice came small. She did. Tanya turned so fast her chair scraped. Jada. Evelyn said, do not address her like that. I'm her mother. And I'm directing this meeting. Jada looked at Evelyn, then at me. I did not nod. I did not coach. I kept my hands folded. A child should not have to rescue grown people from their own lies. Jada said, Mama blocked Aunt Angie in the car. Darnell told her to drive. Darnell sat forward. That little girl's confused. Jada flinched, but she kept going. I'm not. Marcia said, she's 12. Louise said, 12 can see a phone. Evelyn wrote something. Jada, thank you. You can stop there. Tanya's tears came fast. Y'all got my child testifying against me? I said, no. You put her in the witness seat when you did it in front of her. The room held that. Then Evelyn pressed the speakerphone button. For the record, this is Evelyn Whitaker in family team meeting for the Mercer children. Present are Tanya Mercer, Angela Reed, Louise Mercer, Jada Mercer for limited participation, Pastor Lyle, Roberta Haynes, Denise Carter, Darnell Mercer, and Marcia Mercer. Marcia said, I'm not Mercer by marriage anymore. Evelyn looked at the sign-in sheet. You signed Marcia Mercer. Marcia sat back. Fine. Evelyn said, we are now reviewing placement claims. Tanya wiped under her eyes. Good. Review Angela turning away blood. I opened the second folder. Evelyn did not ask yet. I waited. That was hard for me. I wanted to put everything on the table and let the room choke on it. But records work best in order. Marcus had taught me that with bus parts and church minutes, one piece before the next. No shouting at a bolt to make it fit. Evelyn turned to Tanya. Did you list Angela Reed as approved overnight kin on the Cedar Ridge forms? Tanya froze. Darnell looked at the ceiling. Denise stopped tapping. Aunt Roberta whispered, Tanya. Tanya said, Angela is kin. That is not what I asked. I don't know every form. Evelyn lifted another page. This form has your electronic signature, dated March 10th. Tanya said nothing. Evelyn continued. It lists Angela Reed at 144 East Willow Street as approved overnight kin. My address sounded different in that room. Like somebody had taken my porch, my rail, my flower pot, my door, and entered them into a lie. Evelyn looked at me. Ms. Reed, did you approve that listing? No. Did you receive notice? No. Did you provide written consent? No. Tanya said, It's family. Why would I need all that? I looked at her. Because my house is not a storage unit. Marcia's mouth tightened. Watch how you talk about those children. I'm talking about Tanya's use of them. Louise said, That's exactly right. Evelyn placed the Cedar Ridge form beside the text record. Ms. Mercer, you also claimed care support. Tanya's eyes jumped to Darnell. There it was, second brick loose. Evelyn read, Monthly care support requested, $300. March, April, May, and June. Total requested, $1,200. Denise whispered, Lord. Aunt Roberta's face had gone flat. Evelyn said, You stated those funds supported care by Angela Reed. Tanya's tears stopped. I used that money for my kids. Did you give it to Angela Reed? No, but she benefits when the kids are okay. I almost laughed. That was a new kind of theft, spiritual reimbursement. I said, I did not receive $1,200. Evelyn asked, Did you receive $300 in any month from March to June? No. 200? No. 100? No. Any cash at all? $25 Friday night. Tanya said, You keep saying that like it's nothing. It bought 1 bag of chicken strips, 1 carton of orange juice, 2 apples, and children's acetaminophen. Louise looked at me. You bought the medicine? Yes. Tanya snapped. They didn't need that. I opened the pharmacy receipt folder and slid the copy forward. Caleb had a low fever. Nia had no inhaler spacer in the bag. I called the pharmacy before Evelyn arrived. Evelyn looked at the receipt. Amount? $42.18. Pastor Lyle said softly, Out of your pocket. Yes. Darnell mumbled, Everybody wants a medal. I turned to him. No, I want my $42.18 separated from her $1,200. That shut him up for a minute. Evelyn stacked the receipts. Ms. Mercer, there's also the motel balance. Tanya's face changed again. Fear this time, not shame. Fear. Marcia looked at Darnell. What motel? Darnell said. Don't worry about it. Evelyn read, Cedar Ridge extended stay. Past due $740. Marcia's hand hit the table. Darnell. He shrugged. That ain't mine. Tanya said, It's handled. Evelyn said, By whom? Tanya looked at me. I smiled then, just a little. It was not nice. No, I said. Tanya's eyes narrowed. Nobody asked you. You looked at me like the bill had my name on it. Evelyn asked, Was Angela Reed asked to pay that balance? Tanya said, No. I opened my folder to the motel receipt Louise had sent. Louise was asked. Aunt Roberta was told $200. I was told nothing because the plan was to drop the children and run me out of choices. Darnell pointed at me. You don't know nothing about our plan. Evelyn's pen stopped. I wrote that down too. Tanya turned on him. Why are you talking? He threw up his hands. Because she's acting like she knows. Evelyn said, Mr. Mercer, what plan? No plan. You just said our plan. It's how people talk. Pastor Lyle said, not when they're innocent. Darnell glared at him. Stay in your lane, Pastor. Pastor Lyle did not blink. I am. Evelyn turned to Denise. Ms. Carter, did Tanya Mercer tell you Angela Reed had agreed to keep the children? Denise swallowed. She said Angela was being difficult. Did she say Angela agreed? Denise rubbed her forehead. No. Tanya stared at her. Denise. Denise said, don't. I already repeated too much for you. That was Denise's moral verdict. Late, but facing the right direction. Evelyn turned to Aunt Roberta. Ms. Haynes? Aunt Roberta sat up. Tanya told me Angela could stop it if she signed a paper. What paper? One saying she watched the children from March to July. Did you see it? Yes, last night at church. Evelyn looked at me. Was anyone else present? Pastor Lyle and Pearline Bell. Pastor Lyle said, I witnessed it. Evelyn wrote, did Tanya say who helped prepare it? Aunt Roberta's voice dropped. She said Darnell helped. Marcia turned slowly toward her son. Darnell shook his head. Old people hear what they want. Aunt Roberta looked at him. I heard you fine. Tanya leaned over the table. All of y'all are enjoying this. No, Louise said. We are tired. That was Louise's verdict, not loud, not dramatic. Tired will tell the truth when anger gets exhausted. Evelyn reached for the lockbox with her eyes, not her hands. Ms. Reed, do you have the safety plan? The room tightened. Tanya said, what safety plan? Evelyn looked at her. Tanya looked away. I lifted the last folder from the box. It was sealed in a plastic sleeve. Marcus had put it there after the last time Tanya left the children overnight and called it a misunderstanding. He had told me then, Angie, don't depend on memory when somebody else depends on your silence. I pulled the page free. The paper made a plain sound. That was all. No thunder, no music, just paper against plastic. Darnell stood halfway. Where'd she get that? Evelyn said, sit down. He stayed halfway. Marcia touched his arm. Sit. He sat. Tanya stared at the page. That's old. Evelyn said, it is active. No, it ain't. It was reviewed last month. Tanya shook her head. I didn't know Angela had a copy. I said, that's not the same as it being old. Evelyn held out her hand. I gave her the page. She placed it in the center of the table, not in front of Tanya, not in front of me. The center. Where Lies had to cross over it to keep walking. Evelyn read the header first. Hamilton County Department of Family Services, Family Safety Plan, Mercer Children, signed by Tanya Mercer. Tanya whispered, this is too much. Evelyn kept reading. Safety condition. The children shall not be left without a verified adult caregiver approved in writing. Darnell looked at the clock. Evelyn lowered her finger to one line. I knew the line. I had read it so many times the words lived behind my eyes. Evelyn read, I will not leave the children with Angela Reed without Angela Reed's written consent. Nobody spoke. Even Caleb stopped moving Louise's necklace. Evelyn read it again, slower. I will not leave the children with Angela Reed without Angela Reed's written consent. Tanya's lips parted. Aunt Roberta put one hand over her mouth. Denise whispered, you signed that? Tanya said, they made me. Evelyn looked at her. You signed it. I was under pressure. You signed it? I knew Angela would say yes. Evelyn looked at me. Did you provide written consent? No. Verbal consent? No. Any consent? No. Tanya turned on me. You could have fixed this. I set my palm on the table beside Marcus's lockbox. I set it down and let the record talk. Evelyn nodded once, then pressed a key on her laptop. We will now view the porch camera clip. Tanya stood. No. Evelyn looked up. Sit down. I said no. Marcia said, Tanya, sit. No, y'all don't need to watch me. I said, you watched yourself when you smiled at the camera. Her face went pale under her makeup. Evelyn turned the laptop so the room could see. The clip began without sound first. My porch at 8:14, the flag, the bench, the closed door, Jada standing with the pink suitcase, Malik holding Caleb's backpack, Nia looking toward the street. Then Tanya stepped into frame. White blouse, sunglasses, phone in her hand. She looked straight at the camera. She smiled. Darnell's car idled at the curb. Evelyn clicked the audio. Tanya's voice came thin from the laptop. Aunt Angie will do it. She always does. Jada said, Mama, she said no. Tanya laughed. She'll be grateful. There it was. Grateful. That word had carried 8 years of my weekends, my grocery money, my sick days, my bed made with children in it while I slept in a chair, my church mornings with formula on my sleeve, my deep brown hands signing school forms nobody else read. Grateful. I did not move. On the screen, Tanya typed. My phone record had already shown what came next. Then she said, block. Darnell's voice came from the car. Drive. Tanya walked out of frame. Jada knocked once, then harder. The closed door stayed closed. The room watched my door do what my mouth had done. No. Evelyn stopped the clip. Tanya was crying now, but the tears had nowhere to sit. The table was full. Marcia stared at Darnell. You told her drive? He said, I didn't mean leave them, leave them. Louise said, what other leave is there? Pastor Lyle bowed his head. Not prayer, grief with manners. Evelyn turned the laptop back. Based on the safety plan violation, the false caregiver listing, the care support claim, and the recorded drop-off, Angela Reed will be removed from all caregiver and kinship listings unless she requests otherwise in writing. I do not request otherwise, I said. Tanya looked at me like I had slapped her. I had not. I had returned her paperwork to her own hands. Evelyn continued. The children will remain with Louise Mercer under supervised kinship review pending home verification. Louise nodded. I'll do it right. You'll need the full process, Evelyn said. I know. Background check, home visit, medication plan, school contact update. I'll do it. Evelyn looked at Tanya. Your unsupervised placement authority is suspended pending review. Tanya gripped the table. You can't just take over. Evelyn's voice stayed low. You signed over the conditions when you signed the plan. Darnell stood. This is crazy. Evelyn said, Mr. Mercer, sit down or leave. He looked at Marcia. Marcia did not rescue him. That was her verdict. Blood, but not blindness. He sat. Evelyn said, a benefits fraud review will be opened regarding the $1,200 in claimed care support. Tanya whispered, Angela, please. That was the first please since Friday. It did not fit in the room anymore. I looked at my sister. I saw the girl who used to steal my lip gloss and say it looked better on her. I saw the woman who had made children carry her lies like backpacks. Both were true. Only one was in front of Evelyn. You told me people like me should be grateful to help, I said. Today, you can be grateful I kept records. Tanya covered her face. Evelyn wrote for a long time. The clock ticked over to 9:58. Then Marcia spoke. What about Darnell? Darnell swung toward her. Ma. No, she said. What about him? Evelyn looked at him. Any adult who assisted in violating the plan may be included in the review. Darnell laughed, but it broke in the middle. I didn't sign nothing. Jada said very softly, you said Atlanta. Darnell froze. Tanya dropped her hands. Evelyn turned to Jada. You don't have to add more. Jada looked at Louise, then at me. He said if Aunt Angie signed, Mama could still go to Atlanta. Marcia's face changed in a way I almost pitied. Almost. Atlanta? She said. Darnell stood again. I'm done. Evelyn said, the door is there. He looked at Tanya. You coming? Tanya did not answer. He laughed under his breath and walked out. The door shut hard enough for the blinds to tap the glass. Caleb started to cry. Louise held him close. It's all right, baby. Evelyn waited until Caleb settled. Then she said, for the record, Darnell Mercer exited the meeting at 10:02 a.m. I wrote that down too. Tanya stared at the door he had used. There was the recontextualizing piece. She had not only been running from responsibility, she had been chasing a man who would leave her in a government office with her signature on the table. That did not make her innocent. It made her chosen bargain visible. Evelyn gathered the pages. Ms. Mercer, you'll receive written notice today. You may respond through the assigned review process. Do not contact Angela Reed about signatures, placement, money, or statements. Tanya wiped her face. Can I talk to my kids? Evelyn looked at Louise. A short, supervised goodbye in this room. Louise nodded once. Jada did not move toward Tanya. Malik looked at his shoes. Nia kept coloring a sun purple. Caleb had fallen against Louise's shoulder again. Tanya saw it. For 1 second, her face looked plain. No performance, no audience, just the cost. Jada, she said. Jada looked up. I didn't mean for you to be scared. Jada's voice was steady. But I was. Tanya had no answer for that. Evelyn closed her folder. We'll pause for 5 minutes. Ms. Reed, you may step out if you choose. I put the safety plan back in its sleeve. Then I placed it inside Marcus's lockbox, under his note. Tanya watched me do it. You really brought that thing, she said. Yes. Marcus always thought he knew better. I closed the lid. Marcus knew me better. Pastor Lyle stood with me. Aunt Roberta stood too, but she did not come close. She looked at Tanya, then at the children, then at me. I'll wait outside, she said. That was enough. In the hall, Mrs. Bell rose from a plastic chair like court had come back into session. Well, she asked. Pastor Lyle said, the paper talked. Mrs. Bell looked at my face. And? And they listened, I said. She exhaled through her nose. Good. I walked to the restroom alone and locked the stall door. I did not cry. I washed my hands, dried them twice, and looked at myself in the mirror. Deep brown skin, clear eyes, pearl earrings still straight. I had not lost my house. I had not lost my name. I had not lost my door. I went back to the hall. Evelyn was waiting near the water fountain with 2 pages in her hand. Angela. Yes? I need your signature on removal from the caregiver list. That one I'll sign. She handed me the pen. It states you did not consent to prior listings and do not consent going forward. I read every line. Evelyn waited. I signed Angela Reed at 10:17 a.m. Then I added the date. Evelyn almost smiled. Of course you did. Dates matter. They do. She lowered her voice. There's one more thing. Not for the meeting table yet. I looked at her. Your address appears on an older assistant's note from last year. My hand tightened around the pen. Tanya's? I asked. Yes. For childcare? For emergency contact and temporary shelter. I let that settle, last year, before this safety plan, before Friday, before Tanya said I made it worse. Did I sign it? No. Then remove it. We will. I looked down the hall toward room 3. And what about the ones who don't have a lockbox? Evelyn's face went tired again. That's why we document. No, I said. That's why you check before you believe the woman with the cleaner handwriting. She did not defend it. Good. She said, you're right. I handed her the signed page. Then write that down too. A door opened behind us. Tanya came out first. Her white blouse was wrinkled now. She looked smaller, but small did not mean sorry. She stopped when she saw me. For a moment, I thought she would ask again. She did not. She looked at the lockbox in my hand and said, "You always did act like you were above us." I looked at her, and my voice stayed calm. "No, Tanya. I acted like my name was mine." She walked past me toward the lobby. Aunt Roberta followed her, then stopped beside me. "I'm taking Louise to get the children's things from the motel. Do it with Evelyn's paperwork." "I will." "And don't pay Darnell's balance." Aunt Roberta's mouth tightened. "I won't." That was the second apology she did not try to make. Better that way. Some repairs start with not repeating the damage. Denise came out next. She stood in front of me with her purple pen still in hand. "I shouldn't have posted that mess," she said. "No, you shouldn't have." I took it down. "That doesn't unspread it." "I know." I looked at her. "Then post the correction." She blinked. "What correction?" "The truth you heard in there." She swallowed. "Tanya will hate me." "Maybe." Denise looked toward the lobby. "What do I say?" "You say Angela Reed did not abandon those children. Tanya Mercer left them without consent. The record showed it." Denise nodded slowly. "Okay. And spell my name right." For the first time all morning, Mrs. Bell's laugh came from the waiting area. "That's my girl." Evelyn called Louise back in to complete the kinship forms. Pastor Lyle stayed with her. Mrs. Bell sat near the door and guarded purses like that had always been her ministry. I stepped outside with my lockbox. The Hamilton County parking lot was bright and hot. Cars moved along the road toward Pike, toward Chattanooga, toward ordinary errands. I stood beside my car and set the lockbox on the hood for 1 second while I found my keys. Across the lot, Tanya stood near Darnell's car. He was behind the wheel. She bent toward the passenger window. I could not hear everything, but I heard enough. "Darnell, wait," he said. "You got too much heat. Don't do this. I told you to handle it." Then he pulled away. Tanya stood there with her purse on her shoulder and no ride under her plan. She looked over at me. I picked up the lockbox. She did not call my name. I got in my car, started the engine, and let the air run until my hands cooled on the steering wheel. Then I drove back to East Willow Street with Marcus's box on the passenger seat and my own name cleared enough to breathe. By the time I turned onto East Willow, the trash cans were still standing at the curb from Monday pickup. Mine had been rolled back against the fence by somebody else. That told me Mrs. Bell had come by. I parked in the driveway and sat there for 1 full minute. My brick duplex looked the same. Same white porch rail Marcus had sanded twice because I said the first coat felt rough. Same geranium pot by the step. Same little brass numbers beside the door. 418. Same door that had stayed shut while everybody tried to make it look cruel. I carried Marcus's lockbox inside with both hands. The house was quiet. Too quiet for a house that had held an argument since Friday night, even when nobody was in it. I set the lockbox on the kitchen table and put my purse beside it. Then I opened the refrigerator and saw the covered casserole Mrs. Bell had left on the middle shelf. A piece of tape on the foil said, "Eat something, Angela." I stood there in my work flats and laughed once through my nose. "Bossy woman," I said. Then I ate 3 bites standing at the counter. Chicken, rice, too much pepper. Mrs. Bell cooked like she was warning somebody. My phone buzzed before I had the fork down. Denise. I let it ring once, then I answered. "Yes?" "I posted it," she said. Her voice was small, but not soft. Small meant she had been corrected in public, and did not know what size to come back as. What did you post? I said you didn't abandon the children. I said Tanya left them without consent. I said the record showed it. And my name? I spelled it right. Good. She breathed into the phone. People are asking questions. That's what truth does after gossip gets fed first. I know. Do you? She went quiet. I rinsed my fork and placed it in the dishwasher. Denise, I'm not asking you to fight my battle. I already fought it. I'm asking you not to leave your lie sitting where my name has to step over it. I took it down. You posted a correction? Yes. Then leave it up. Tanya's going to call me. She's blocked plenty of people. She can survive a busy signal. Denise made a tired sound. You always know what to say. No, I know what I won't carry. That ended the call. I set the phone face down and went to the hall closet. Marcus's choir robe still hung in the back under clear plastic, black fabric, white stole, one dry cleaning tag from a year before he passed. I touched the sleeve with 2 fingers. You were right, I said. That was all I gave the room. I put the lockbox back on the closet floor, but I did not slide it under the robe yet. Not this time. I opened it and took out his note. For when they try you again. The paper had softened at the fold. His handwriting still looked like him. Upright, plain, no flourish. Marcus had been a county bus mechanic for 22 years, and his penmanship looked like a man who believed bolts and words should both hold. I taped the note inside the lid instead of leaving it loose. Then I closed the box. The latch clicked, and the sound settled me more than the casserole had. At 4:36, my phone buzzed again. A number I did not know. I answered because records had taught me not to be afraid of unknown numbers. They usually tell on somebody. Is this Angela Reed? A woman asked. It is. This is Carla from Ridgeway Motor Lodge. I looked toward the window. Yes? I'm calling about a balance under Tanya Mercer. Then you have the wrong woman. She listed you as responsible contact. She listed me for several things without permission. Carla sighed like she had heard that sentence before. I understand. No, ma'am. You might believe me, but you don't understand yet. I did not sign for a room. I did not stay in a room. I did not guarantee a balance. It's $740. I know. She said you were handling family support. She said a lot. Carla paused. Papers moved on her end. Would you be willing to send a written statement? No? No? I'll send the caseworker's contact information. Any statement I make goes through Hamilton County. That works. Good. And remove my number from your file. I can note it. Remove it. Another pause. Yes, ma'am. That one landed better than sister, better than auntie, better than helper. Ma'am had a boundary in it. After I hung up, I wrote Ridgeway Motor Lodge, 4:38 p.m., $740, no consent in my notebook. Then I took a picture of the page. At 5:12, a car slowed in front of my house. I knew the sound before I saw the driver. Darnell's muffler had been bad since Easter. He had money for sneakers and Atlanta gas, but not a repair that announced him 3 houses away. He pulled along the curb. He did not get out. I stood behind my front curtain and watched him look at my porch camera. Then he looked at my door, then at his phone. My phone did not ring. He drove off. That was Darnell's courage. A slow roll past a black woman's house after the state had written his name down. No knock, no words, just exhaust and pride. I wrote that down too. At 6, Pastor Lyle called. Angela, he said, Louise got the children's bags. With paperwork? Yes. Good. She asked if you wanted to speak to Jada. My hand stopped over the stove knob. I had been heating the casserole properly because Mrs. Bell would know if I did not. Is Jada asking? She is. I turned the flame off. Put her on. There was a little shuffle, then a breath. Aunt Angie? Hey, baby. I'm at Grandma Louise's. I heard. She got bunk beds. That sounds practical. She said practical means it won't break. That's about right. Jada got quiet. I waited. Children will talk if you don't fill the room with adult noise. Mama mad at you? She asked. Your mama has feelings to handle. She said you made it worse. No, I made it official. What does that mean? It means grown people have to tell the truth where other grown people can hear it. Jada breathed out. Are we in trouble? No. Malik thinks we are. Tell Malik I said he is not in trouble. Nia colored on Grandma's mail. Nia might be in small trouble. Jada made a sound close to a laugh. It did not get all the way there, but it tried. Then she said, You didn't open the door because of us? There it was, the child question beneath the adult shouting. I leaned against my counter and looked at my closed front door. No, baby. I kept the door closed because of what your mama did. But we were outside. And I stayed right there with you. I called the people whose job was to help. I kept eyes on you. I made sure you were safe. You didn't leave. No. She got quiet again. Okay, she said. It was not forgiveness. It was a child putting one fact on a shelf where fear had been. I love you, Jada. I love you too. Pastor Lyle came back on. She needed that. So did I. You all right? I am not in pieces. That is not what I asked. I know. He let out a low breath. Church office got 2 calls about Sunday. About what? Tanya. Of course. She wants prayer before service. I closed my eyes. Prayer. Some people used it like a washcloth after they threw mud. What did you say? I said the altar ain't a podium. Thank you. She may still come. Then she can sit. Will you be there? I count the offering, Pastor. You do more than that. I count the offering. He understood me. I had no intention of hiding from a sanctuary I had kept books for, swept under pews in, and stood in beside Marcus while he sang bass until my ribs felt it. I'll see you Sunday, he said. Good night, Pastor. After I hung up, I turned the stove back on. I ate at the table this time. Plate, napkin, glass of water, a grown woman in her own house. At 7:41, Evelyn emailed the written notice. I printed it from the little office off my bedroom, the one with Marcus's bus schedule still thumbtacked near the shelf. The printer groaned like it was tired of family, too. Page after page slid out. Removal from caregiver and kinship listings. Address flagged for verification before future use. Benefits fraud referral. Safety plan violation. Care support review for $1,200. Ridgeway Motor Lodge third-party contact disputed. I read every line. Then I saw the attachment at the bottom. Prior emergency contact note. Last year, I opened it. There was my name. Angela Reed, my address, my phone number. Under relationship, Tanya had typed sister/reliable. Reliable. I stared at that word. Not beloved, not asked, not respected, reliable. I printed that page too and placed it under Marcus's note in the lockbox. Not because I needed more proof for Tanya, because I needed to see the shape of the thing. People had not been mistaking me for family support by accident. Tanya had been building a paper version of me, a version that said yes before the real me even knew there was a question. At 8:15, my doorbell rang. I checked the camera first. Aunt Roberta stood on my porch with a plastic grocery bag in one hand and her church purse in the other. She looked up at the camera. I know you see me, she said. I opened the door, but I kept the storm door locked. Evening, I said. She looked at the lock, her mouth pulled tight. Then she nodded. Evening. What do you need? She lifted the grocery bag. Louise sent these. For me? For you. Children's things that got mixed in your car trunk Sunday, that little blue jacket, a charger, one of Caleb's socks. I'll take them. She held the bag out. I opened the storm door just enough to take it. Aunt Roberta looked past me into the house, but she did not ask to come in. Good. She had learned one thing today. I should have asked you, she said. I looked at her. She did not dress it up. She did not bring childhood into it. She did not say family first. I should have asked before I repeated Tanya's story. Yes, I said. She sounded so sure. Sure is not true. No, it's not. A car passed behind her. The porch light caught the silver in my twists and the tired in her face. Aunt Roberta had carried family mess longer than I had been alive, but age did not make wrong harmless. She lowered her voice. Your mama would have hated this. My mama hated lies. She loved Tanya. She loved me too. Aunt Roberta looked down. Yes, she did. That was the apology I accepted, not because it fixed much, because it finally included me. She reached in her purse and pulled out a folded check. I want you to take this. No. It's for groceries, for all them times. No. Angela. Aunt Roberta, I said no. It's $400. I heard you. She looked hurt, and I let her. Hurt was not always a bill I had to pay. I'm not taking money so everybody can feel settled by Friday, I said. That ain't what I'm doing. Maybe not, but that's what it would do. Her hand dropped. You always were stubborn. No. I was trained to be useful, and I'm unlearning it in public. She folded the check back into her purse. All right. Give it to Louise for the bunk beds. She already got them. Then put it toward school shoes. Aunt Roberta nodded. I can do that. Through the case plan. She almost smiled. Through the case plan. Before she stepped off the porch, she looked back. Tanya's at my house tonight, I figured. She ain't speaking. She's resting her story. Aunt Roberta's eyes sharpened. You think she has another one? I think Tanya doesn't sit quiet unless she's measuring the room. That was not a guess. That was 39 years of sisterhood. After Aunt Roberta left, I locked the door and checked the grocery bag. Blue jacket, phone charger, one tiny sock. At the bottom was a folded piece of notebook paper. I opened it. Jada's handwriting leaned left. Aunt Angie, I told Malik we are not in trouble. That was all. I put the note on my refrigerator under the magnet from Lookout Mountain that Marcus had bought because it was shaped like Tennessee and cost $3 too much. Then my phone buzzed again. Tanya. Not a call. A text from a new number. You happy now? I took a screenshot. Another text came before I lowered the phone. You got everybody treating me like I'm some criminal. Screenshot. Then another. You always wanted my kids. I stood still in the kitchen. That one was not for me. That was bait with a hook big enough for a courtroom. She wanted me to defend myself. She wanted words she could cut and hold up. I did not answer. The next message came 1 minute later. You better hope they don't ask what Marcus would have done. My whole body went quiet. I set the phone on the counter. I put both palms flat beside it. I looked at the fuse box in the hallway, where Marcus used to tape reminder notes because he said I checked it more than the calendar. The last one still sat there. Porch bulb, side outlet, hall breaker. His handwriting, his order, his care. Tanya had learned nothing if she thought his name would make me jump. I forwarded the screenshots to Evelyn. Then I typed one message to Tanya. Do not contact me. Use Evelyn Whitaker. I sent it, took a screenshot of that too, and blocked the number. At 9:02, Evelyn replied. Received. Do not engage further. I wrote that down. The next morning, I went to work. Medical billing does not care about family shame. Claims still deny, codes still mismatch. Somebody still enters a 6 instead of a 9 and costs a clinic $812 until a woman like me catches it. I wore my navy blouse, gray slacks, and pearl earrings. I pinned my badge straight. Angela Reed, Revenue Integrity Auditor. I looked at that badge before I walked in. At 10:20, my supervisor, Mr. Hahn, stopped by my desk. "You need personal time?" he asked. "No." "You sure?" "Yes." He nodded toward my screen. "You already found the Thompson duplicate?" "2 of them, one for $319, one for $1,084. He blinked. "You work upset better than most people work calm." "I am calm." He studied my face, then nodded. "Okay." That was why I liked Mr. Hahn. He believed what the room gave him. He did not dig for a performance. At lunch, I sat in my car with the air on low and checked my voicemail. One from Ridgeway Motor Lodge. "Ms. Reed, we removed your number from the account and sent the contact request to Hamilton County." "Good." One from Louise. "Angela, this is Louise. Evelyn came by. Home visit passed for temporary placement. We got medication logged. School knows to call me. Jada asked if she could keep your note on the fridge when she visits. I told her I'd ask you. Thank you for doing it right, even though right hurt." I saved that one. One from a number I did not know. "Angela, this is Marcia Mercer." I sat up straighter. "I know I ain't your people. Not really. But I sat in that room yesterday and saw my son show himself. I won't call you again after this unless you say so. I just wanted you to know I told Evelyn what I heard him say Sunday night. About Atlanta. About Tanya needing you to sign. I should have said it sooner. I didn't. That's on me." The voicemail ended there. Marcia had given her verdict twice now. First by not rescuing Darnell, then by putting her name on what she heard. I saved that one too. After work, I drove straight to Cedar Bluff First Missionary Baptist. Pastor Lyle's car was in the side lot. Mrs. Bell's was too, because of course it was. That woman could sense a church key turning from 3 streets away. Inside, the fellowship hall smelled like floor cleaner and old coffee. The offering envelopes were stacked on the treasurer's table. I unlocked the little cabinet and pulled out the ledger. Mrs. Bell came in carrying a tin of butter cookies. "You ate my casserole?" she asked. "Yes." "At a table?" I looked at her. Mostly. "Angela." I finished at the table. She grunted. "Progress." Pastor Lyle came from the office with a sheet of paper in his hand. "We need to talk before Sunday," he said. "About Tanya's prayer request?" "Yes." I opened the ledger. "If she wants prayer, pray." She asked to speak after announcements. "No, Mrs. Bell set the cookies down harder than needed. "Absolutely not." Pastor Lyle nodded. That was my answer. "What did she say?" I asked. "She said the church was taking your side because Marcus was a deacon." I wrote the deposit date at the top of the ledger. Marcus has been gone 3 years, and he still has better attendance than half the choir. Mrs. Bell laughed before she could stop herself. Pastor Lyle covered his mouth, but his eyes gave him away. I kept writing. "Then she said something else," he said. I looked up. She said people always believe a professional black woman when she uses paperwork against a struggling mother. There it was, the cleaner version of the wound. No slur, no raised fist. Just Tanya reaching for the old shelf where the world keeps certain stories. Angry black woman, cold black woman, educated black woman who forgot where she came from, useful when needed, threatening when precise. Mrs. Bell's face hardened. Pastor Lyle said, "I told her this church will not host that." "Thank you." You want me to bar her? No. Mrs. Bell turned. Angela. No, I said. She can come sit under the word like anybody else. She just can't use the microphone. Pastor Lyle nodded. That's fair. It's more than fair, Mrs. Bell said. I counted the envelopes. 20, 40, 60, 100. Checks separate. Coins in the pouch. Every amount written. Every hand accounted for. Pastor Lyle watched me work for a moment. You know, he said. Evelyn called. I paused. About church? About the old benevolence form. I looked at him then. What old benevolence form? He set the page on the table. My name was on it again. Not as applicant, as sponsor. Tanya had requested $450 from the church emergency fund 6 months ago. Motel transition assistance, child care support pending family help. Under sponsor confirmation, someone had written Angela Reed, sister, aware. No signature, no phone call. Just my name doing unpaid labor in ink again. Mrs. Bell whispered, Lord have mercy. Pastor Lyle said, the check was never issued. Board denied it because the fund was low. But the form stayed filed. Yes. I looked at the paper. Who filled it out? He tapped the top line. Denise Carter. I closed my eyes for 1 second. Purple pen, loose mouth, late conscience. Was Denise on the benevolence board? I asked. Temporary secretary. Of course. Mrs. Bell reached for the paper. That girl needs to be sat down. She already corrected one lie, I said. She helped file another. And now I need the copy. Pastor Lyle slid it toward me. Already made. I looked at him. He said, Marcus trained me too. That almost got me. Not tears. I do not cry when people expect it, but it put pressure behind my eyes, and I had to look down at the ledger. I placed the benevolence form in my folder. This goes to Evelyn. I figured. Mrs. Bell leaned over the table. Angela, that means Tanya tried to get church money using you. Yes. After all you gave? I wrote the last envelope amount, $75. After all I gave, I said, grateful. That word came back and stood in the fellowship hall wearing Tanya's perfume. Grateful. I had given grocery runs of $62, pharmacy copays of $18.40, field trip cash, socks, cereal, gas, a mattress I never got back, Saturday mornings, sick leave, prayer, clean sheets, birthday cupcakes, and quiet. I had given until the total got too big for one column. Then Tanya tried to spend my name too. Gone. Pastor Lyle sat across from me. What do you want done here? File a correction. With the church board? Yes. Public? Board minutes. No pulpit. He nodded. Clean record. Clean record. Mrs. Bell crossed her arms. And Denise? I'll speak to Denise once. She'll cry. That's her business. At 7:10, Denise arrived because Pastor Lyle called her. She came through the fellowship hall door in pink scrubs, still wearing her work badge from the dental office. She saw me. Then she saw the paper. Her shoulders dropped. Angela, she said. Sit down, Denise. She sat. Pastor Lyle stayed. Mrs. Bell stayed too, planted beside the cookies like a witness with snacks. I placed the benevolence form in front of Denise. Did you write this? She looked at it. Yes. Did you call me? No. Did Tanya tell you I knew? Yes. Did you verify? No. Why? Denise's eyes filled. Because I thought it was just church help. With my name. I didn't think. That's not true. She looked up. You thought Tanya needed the money. You thought I would cover it if asked. You thought my name was safe to use because I'm the one who always fixes what spills. Denise wiped her cheek. Am I wrong? I asked. No. Mrs. Bell made a small sound. Pastor Lyle stayed still. Denise said, "I'm sorry." "That is the only apology scene I'm giving you, Denise, so use it well." She nodded hard. "You will write a correction for the benevolence file. You will say you did not verify my consent. You will say Tanya used my name without confirmation. You will sign it and date it." "Okay." "And you will not put my name in your mouth for family business again unless I am standing there." "I won't." I slid a blank page toward her. She looked at Pastor Lyle. He said, "Write it." Denise wrote. Her purple pen moved slower this time. Each word cost her a little. "Good. Some lessons should not be convenient." When she finished, I read it twice. Then I said, "Date." She added the date. "Print your name." She printed it. "Now sign." She signed. I took a photo, then handed the original to Pastor Lyle. "Board file," I said. "Yes." I took the copy for Evelyn. Denise looked at me. "Do you hate me?" "No." She cried harder at that than she would have if I had said yes. I put my folder in my tote. Hate takes energy. I'm using mine elsewhere. Mrs. Bell picked up the tin. "Cookie?" Denise blinked. "What?" "You look faint." "Mrs. Bell," I said. "What?" "Low sugar makes people pitiful." Denise took a cookie because nobody wins against Pearline Bell in a fellowship hall. When I got home, the porch was dark. I had not turned the light on before I left. For a second, I sat in the car and looked at that unlit door. Friday night, 4 children had stood there under that same light while Tanya's car idled at the curb. Tonight, the door was only a door. Wood, hinges, lock, choice. My phone buzzed. "Evelyn." I answered before I got out. "Angela," she said. "I received the church form." "You already got it?" Pastor Lyle sent a scan. He moves fast when corrected. He mentioned Denise signed a statement. She did. Evelyn exhaled. That helps. With Tanya? With the pattern. I looked down East Willow. Mrs. Bell's porch light was on 2 houses over. Mr. Jeffries was dragging his recycling bin back in. A dog barked once and stopped. "What pattern?" I asked. Evelyn was quiet for a beat. "There are 2 older notes," she said. "My name again?" "No, other women." I sat still. "Who?" "I can't give details, but both were listed as informal care support. Both later disputed it." "Were they checked?" "One was, one wasn't." I gripped the steering wheel. There it was, the wider thing. Not new trouble, the same trouble wearing other women's names. And what happens now? Now the review includes all related listings. All because she put my name down? All because you challenged it with records. I looked at my house. My deep brown hands rested on the wheel, veins raised, nails plain, wedding band still where I kept it. A black woman in Cedar Bluff with a folder, a camera, and a dead husband's note had made the paper look back at itself. I said, "Evelyn?" "Yes?" "What about the ones who don't have a lockbox?" She did not answer quickly. Then she said, "I'm taking that question to my supervisor." "Take my sentence too. The agency should verify before it burdens somebody's name." "I will. Write that down." I already did. That was the first time all week I believed somebody in an office before they proved it twice. I got out of the car with my tote on my shoulder. Before I stepped onto the porch, I looked at the camera above the door. Marcus had angled it himself. He had stood on a ladder in his old work boots while I held the screws in a coffee mug. "A camera don't mean you mistrust folks," he had told me. "What does it mean?" "It means you won't have to beg a liar for the truth." I had rolled my eyes then. "You and your sayings." He had smiled. "You'll thank me." I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house smelled like Mrs. Bell's pepper and the lemon cleaner I used on Sundays. I set my tote down, took the church form copy out, and placed it in the lockbox with the DSS papers, the Ridgeway note, and Jada's refrigerator message copied on my phone. Then I taped Marcus's note flatter against the inside lid. For when they try you again. This time it did not feel like warning. It felt like instruction I had finally followed all the way through. I closed the lockbox and carried it to the hall closet. I did not hide it under the choir robe. I set it on the shelf at eye level. Then I went back to the front door. Outside, East Willow Street had gone quiet. No idling car, no suitcase, no blocked phone waiting to be useful. Just my porch, my rail, my light switch under my hand. I turned the porch light off myself. The dark outside stayed outside. A closed door can still be a mercy.